All right, y'all should be able to hear me out there. Let me adjust my shit. All right, good job. Back for another stream. Welcome or welcome back to another live installment of Ghetto Genius. Oh wait, my bad. Spoken Genius. You know, it's your boy Ghetto Genius here, man. Damn, I'm so worked up over this topic. I'm already kind of flushing over my words, but yeah, man. Shout out to all the brothers that's celebrating the Shabbat today. Shout out to all the brothers that celebrated earlier this week. You know how that goes. May we continue to observe, pick out a day of the week to observe the Lord and the Most High and things of that nature. So, you know, with that being said, let's see. Where do I want to go? You know what? Did I? Oh no. Hold on. Give me a second. Yeah, a second, y'all. See, I'm so caught up in what I was doing. I forgot to set up. No, we'll get rid of that for now. All right, cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and get some scriptures real quick for this lesson. Very important lesson. Hold on real quick. Get to the comments. The honorary elder already in the building. He already in the building, man. Hey, shout out to honorary elder J2K coming from Ghana. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you made it safely, brother. You know what I'm saying? I know that was a long flight, but I appreciate you being in the building. It's official. The NWBs have gone global. NWBs have gone global, baby. We in the building. But let's see what we got here. Let's go ahead and get some scriptures real quick. I don't want to spend too much time. We're already 12 minutes into this. It's only 2:30. So 3:30 if you're on the East Coast. It should be about 12. No, it should be about 1. My bad. It should be about 4 on the East Coast, about 1 on the West Coast. So you know how that go. But let me go ahead and get some scriptures here. Move that out the way. Let's go ahead and set up the point. Let's see. Genesis 28. Give me a couple seconds. All right. Genesis 28. Move out the way, please. Thank you. Genesis 28. And we're just going to get straight to the point. Genesis 28. And let's get verse 13 and 14. So, Genesis chapter 28, verses 13 and 14. And behold, the Lord Yahweh stood above it and said, I am the Lord Yahweh, power of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give to you and your descendants. Here's the key verse, verse 14. Also, your descendants, shall be as the dust of the earth. You shall spread abroad to the west and the east, to the north and the south, and you and in your seed all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Now, I want to compound that with Numbers 24. Give a couple seconds. All right, so Numbers 24, starting at let's start at verse 3. This is talking about Balaam. Then he took up his oracle and said, the utterance of Balaam, the son of Beor, the utterance of the man whose eyes were open, or whose eyes are open, the utterance of him who hears the words of the Most High, who seeks the vision of the Almighty, who falls down with eyes wide open. How lovely are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel, like valleys that stretch out, like gardens by the riverside, like aloes planted by the Lord Yahweh, like cedars beside the waters. Here's the kicker right here. Verse 7. He shall pour water from his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters. His king, his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. The Most High brings him out of Egypt. He has strength like a wild ox. He shall consume the nations, his enemies. He shall break their bones and pierce them with arrows. He bows down and lies down as a lion, and as a lion, who shall rouse him? Now, the key is verse 7, where I want to get at, because that compounds uh the prophecy given to Jacob / Israel in Genesis 28, verse 13 to 14. His He shall pour his water from his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters. As we know, waters is referring to other nations. So if it's in many waters, that means it's amongst many nations. Really, all nations, because as we learned in Genesis 28, is talking about how his seed should be spread from the north to the south to the east and to the west. But anyway, what's another one I want to get real quick? I don't want to spend too much time on this. I guess we can go to New Testament here. It was one. Oh, you know what? Let me go to Acts. It should be Acts 10. Let me see. It should be Acts 10 that I'm looking for. Let's see. Yeah, let's go with Acts 10. Starting at verse 9. The next day, as they went unto the journey and drew near the city, Peter went up to the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. Then he became very hungry and wanted to eat, but while they made ready, he fell into a trance and saw heaven open and an object like a great sheet bound at the four corners descending to him and down to the earth. In it were all kinds of four-footed animals of the earth, wild beasts, creeping things, and birds of the air. And a voice came to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything common or unclean. Shout out to all those that think they can eat unclean foods now. Anyway, idiots. But and a voice spoke to him again the second time. What the Most High has cleansed, you must not call common. This was done 3 times, and the object was taken up into heaven again. So I read this to kind of piggyback off of the point of uh, Genesis 28, 13 through 14, and Numbers 24 and 7, how Jacob's seed shall be in many waters. So that means that he's going to be amongst pretty much all nations. Of course, it means, if you want to get real technical, it says many. So maybe not all, but in many nations. So there might be, well, you know what? I'll save that last part for the actual topic of discussion. But, um, one more. Oh, you know what? I'll get my boy TKP's favorite verse. James 1:1. Oh man. James, a bondservant of the Most High, and to the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. Scattered abroad what? The entire planet. But anyway, to various degrees. All right, this is the last one. One more, and then we'll get to the point. We'll get to the point where I'm reading all these. Revelation 7, and it should be verse 9. After these things, I looked, and behold, a great multitude which no one could number, of all nations, tribes, and peoples, and tongues, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, with palm branches in their hands. Now, of course, religions will try to say this is of all nations, of all races of people, no matter who you are and where you come from. No, this is literally another cross reference to it's just another way to piggyback off of Genesis 28, verses 13 through 14. Just another example of the same thing. Okay. Because Israel, like in number one, my bad, not number one, but Numbers chapter 24, verse 7 clearly tells you that his seed shall be in many waters, meaning it shall be in pretty much all nations, tribes, peoples, and tongues. There will be Israelites amongst all the nations, tribes, peoples, and tongues. So it's the same thing. But I don't want to get on, you know, the other religions today because that's not really the point. Whatever. I'm doing all this because we got to talk about something. We got to talk about something very, very important here, which of course is, as y'all can see, the title of the live stream, me versus the 12 tribes chart. Oh boy, the chart. I've been talking about this for a while. Ever since y'all have known that I've been planning on doing live streams on my channel, this has been one of the biggest topics that I've been talking about doing myself, because I'm probably the biggest out of all the individual Israelites. Out of all the non-camp Israelites, I am probably the biggest uh detractor of the 12 tribes chart. I do not adhere to it whatsoever, but I want to save all my points for the backdrops that we're going to use. We're going to start first with, hold up, ISUPK themselves.
Before anybody had a clue.
Shut up. Hold on. Let me get my point across, bitch. Anyway, should about the 30-minute mark. Should about 30-minute mark. All right. Cool beans. Hold on a second. Get that out the way. All right. Now, back to the point. ISUPK. I guess they're across the line radio show. You know, they're not like I said, you know, is what it is with these camps. They have plenty of issues, which I guess we'll touch on that down the line. They do teach things that are true, by the way. Let me not say everything they teach is false. That's not true. But there are some things that they teach that just doesn't really that doesn't really jive with me from my understanding of scripture. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this. Make sure we ain't got no all right, cool. No other comments. All right, bet. We go ahead and get into this, and we're gonna let it ride because this is going to be a while. So, you know, I don't think I'm gonna go through the whole video. I'm just gonna see everything that he says, and then we'll also go to the Sakari camp. So, with that being said, let's do this like we ain't new to this. Let's rock. Hold up. We ain't got time for this bull. You gotta hurry up. Oh, come on. I had it, but
Just have to call in. Call in with respect.
yeah.
They haven't done any research. They
Hold on.
didn't trying to learn it. And then I took your advice.
Go ahead and let him introduce himself. I'm pretty sure all y'all know him.
Hold on. All right. So we should be ready to go. Make sure you no comments. All right, cool. Sorry for the delay. All right, let's do this.
You know what I'm saying? But let's get some edification. Let's learn a little bit. And if you don't agree, again, it's okay. But I'm going to get the floor to the brother. Go ahead and let him introduce himself. I'm pretty sure all y'all know him, but those of y'all who might not, it's Captain Cox.
You understand? Well, first things first, you know what I'm saying? I just want to say Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Barakathum to all my brothers, Yahweh Shemal Atah Ba'Shem Yahushua to all my sisters. I am Captain Katazah, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, start at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. I'm also, just bear with me 1 second, because I'm also, I took your advice as to what you said earlier as far as simul streaming. So we're also live right now on Cross the Line Radio. So I'm just trying to make sure all the sound's right. And then definitely as far as what you were saying is This is definitely for people who are genuinely interested in trying to learn about this. Now, if you have a discrepancy or you don't understand, definitely call up. It's definitely something we can hash out. One of the main things that I notice about this topic is people tend to speak on it either biasly or ignorantly. You understand? And meaning that they haven't done any research. They just looked at it and stated, oh, no, that can't be true. You understand? Or the main arguments that I've actually even seen against the 12 tribe chart, you understand, is colorism and the Bering Strait.
Well, good thing we're not the typical people over here, because that's not my arguments. I've already given my arguments. My argument against it is Genesis 28, the verses 13 and 14, Numbers 24 and 7, Acts 10, what was it, verse 9 through, give me 1 second. I forget stuff too quick. Acts 10. What was it again? Good grief, I always forget my shit. Acts 10. What was it again? Hold on. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me. Gotta get my shit organized. Acts 10, 9 through 16. Yeah, I had it right. I don't know why I didn't say that. So my arguments are against the chart are Genesis 28, verses 13 and 14, Numbers 24 and 7, Acts 10, 9 through 16, and Revelation 7 to 9. That's my argument. I don't give a fuck about no damn colorism. So, and I forgot what he said, the Bering Strait or double straight. No, that's not my argument. Sorry.
And colorism is for slaves. And as far as the Bering Strait, it's a theory, and that's also something that we destroyed. We've been teaching this
Bering
since
Strait,
1969. And even outside of that, you understand, there's been more and more and more archaeology that's been added over the years. You know what I'm saying? Like the scripture says that the earth shall help the woman. And that's why there's archaeology popping up even all around the world recently, so on and so forth, which just proves that Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians of Indian or Negro descent on their father's side are the true Israelites of biblical antiquity.
You hear that? See how they're trying to just focus on the Western Hemisphere? Like, bruh, no. Like, that's not how you determine. I mean, I appreciate you saying on your father's side, but at the same time, one thing that a lot of people do is they try to equate they try to make nationality and ethnicity the same thing, and no, it's not. Nationality is just the country that you preside in. Ethnicity is what actual race is, i.e., tracing back to your tribe, which would trace back to your forefather. So he, to a degree, got it correct on their father's side, but it has nothing to do with the landmass that they're on. It just has to strictly to do with their father's patriarchal lineage. It's that simple. Now, is that simple? Now, is it that easy to trace back? Fuck no, of course not. I don't even think anybody has done that in its fullest degree. A lot of that information is hidden, point blank, period. But at the same time, that doesn't change the fact that that's the only way to truly figure out your race. Like all this other stuff is just it's just lazy work. I'll be honest. It's just niggas being lazy. But anyway.
Now, this is another thing too. Anybody who also, you understand, doesn't understand the chart or needs more than just like the dialogue that we're doing here, I did a lecture in July out in Chicago. You understand? Big ups to Captain Desariat, you understand, for getting me involved with that, as well as Captain Mawakwa for inviting me to his city, showing the utmost hospitality. And I did damn near 3.5 to 4 hours, you understand, worth of material. And that was actually even rough to condense because I had about 18 to 20 hours worth of material. And that's not even, you understand, to go outside of. I also made sure that every single piece of anthropolitical data and archaeology that I used is something that's either irrefutable or, even for people who like to use the Smithsonian, so on and so forth, was backed up. But there's something more important. They had this chart before any of the archaeology. You understand? like Ariah got that vision, you understand? And this was passed down to the priests and prophets of the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge before
You hear that shit?
anybody had a clue about Hebrew stones being found in Puerto Rico. Before they knew about the Los Lunas stones, you understand, which is damn near one of the oldest 10 commandments, you understand, found, written in ancient Hebrew down in New Mexico. Before they found the Decalogue stone, the Keystone, you understand, so on and so forth, all these different artifacts scattered throughout the Americas. Before they started finding shield Davids in, you understand, I mean, from Nicaragua all the way on up into Canada. Before they started breaking down the
They found the shield of David in Nicaragua. I wonder if it looked like that damn. I wonder if it looked like that damn 6-pointed star right behind you. Oh, they found shields of David in Nicaragua. Yeah, okay, bro.
North American Indians language and coming to the conclusion that from Canada all the way on down to Peru, all the way on down to Argentina, and then across to all the Antilles and Caribbean, you understand, that all of them were speaking Hebrew. So once again, that could only be of the Lord. So when we did this breakdown, you understand?
Yeah, I agree with you. Of the Lord and of the scriptures, but not of the chart. That doesn't prove the chart, bro. That just proves that those people were descendants of the people of the book. Okay, great. Ain't nobody denying that for the most part, but that doesn't automatically state what their tribe is. Come on, man.
Or rather, when the lecture came through, you understand, the one thing that I always start to see is that people are very ignorant when it comes down to our history. When I mean our history, I mean, you understand, everybody knows about the transatlantic slave trade involving who we consider Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. You understand, which would be so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians. So now, what happens
Allegedly.
is that people are very ignorant when it comes down to the topic that the tribe of Gad, the so-called North American Indians, were also shipped abroad on slave ships, on cargo slave ships. Do you understand? They were sent to England. They were sent to the Caribbean. Same thing when it comes down to the Taino, to the Arawaks, to the Caribs.
So if they were shipped to England, bruh, how does that work on the chart, my guy? Like, how does that work on the chart, dude? Because they're not the original. You know what? I'm just gonna let him talk.
When Christopher Columbus came over here, the transatlantic slave trade started with the Tainos.
By the way, confirmed, Christopher Columbus is a so-called black man. Oh man, that's some crazy information that's really coming out. That's some information we need to know. Cause now all these goddamn quote unquote Aborigine junkies can stop talking about can stop complaining about Thanksgiving and shit. Oh, the white man came over here, he just slaughtered everybody. That nigga was black. That was a nigga. Straight up brown skinned. Anyway.
And these are all different, you understand, aspects and areas, you understand, that we brought out in order to line everything up. You know what I'm saying? Now, is there anything specifically that you want to get into? Because I can't just sit down here and do the whole lecture for 3 hours all over again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think you could. That was a long lecture.
Why not?
Well, I'll tell you what. Basically, what I want to do is I want to dive right into questions, if that's good with you.
Okay.
Because because like I said, like you just said, a lot of people have certain understandings or lack of, and that includes myself also. So I already see questions popping up in the comment section. Listen, if you got a question, Sister Rhoda, I got your question already written down. I asked that one. I got a few questions for you, Cap. And I'm gonna open up the phone lines if you want to start that route right now, and then we just can get rolling because, like you said, you broke it down like really quick. You said that the before Arya got division, then you got there was knowledge of the 12 tribes chart. So let me ask you this quick question because this is a big one that always comes up that I see a lot, and I don't know anything about it. So just I'm asking for from an ignorant standpoint myself. Um, a lot of people have this video floating around where I don't even know who the guy is, honestly, that says that
I know the video, and I don't know who the hell he is either.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. So I mean, so we don't even know what this video come from, or when it came, or where it came from, or what. He has no facts behind it. Because I remember having a conversation with somebody. So I was like, according to law, we're supposed to have witnesses, right? Where's his witness? I never saw any witness in the video, but that video has circulated as if it's gospel, and a lot of people have taken it as such. What do you say about that?
I mean, I think that there's definitely certain principalities out there, and it's like when you start talking about, you understand, Jesus being black, you'll literally have, you understand, so-called Judites that'll turn around and say, Jesus ain't no nigga, straight up and down. Like they'll be completely opposed to it because that's just one of the things that is supposed to be suppressed in the earth. Because if it comes out that this record, which created, you understand, I mean, every major religion on the earth, the three major religions is Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And all of that comes from the scriptures. If you find out that this record, these religions,
Christianity comes from the scriptures, Islam comes from the scriptures, man, don't start that bull. Judaism kind of, but then again, not really. But those other two, don't start that bull, man. Don't start this.
religions, this book, these lands belong to niggas and spics, it crushes the entire establishment. So there's certain things that cause an uproar in the earth, and the 12 tribe chart is one of them because that's our identity, and that's the last thing that they want us to know is who we are, and for the 12 tribes to unite, because that was Yahweh Shah's mission in the first place. So as far as why they're saying that,
Niggas, you crazy? Nigga, they have absolutely no problem with that 12 tribes chart being out. They created one of their own well before y'all did. What was it? I might be able to find it before this stream's over. But what is it called? The Anglo, it's like Anglo, quote unquote Anglo-Saxon, because of course they're not the original ones, but it's like Anglo-Saxon 12 tribes chart, which basically like aligns all those so-called Caucasians to each region of Europe. And it was like early 1900s, some shit. I might look this up while he's basically talking shit at this point.
once again, like as you stated, where are the witnesses? Why are we just taking it for face value? Like what we should do is we should investigate. Like anybody who has an actual issue with the chart, why don't you go and look at the evidence first? Like it's extremely ignorant for you to turn around and just dismiss something without hearing the entire argument first. I mean, that's straight scriptural. You have to hear the entire matter before you can judge it. So that's hearsay. You get what I'm saying? Like there's tons of rumors. There's tons of, trash that people talk. Doesn't mean that we should take it for face value. I don't know who that cat is. I don't know his pedigree. You get what I'm saying? And like you said, not too many other people do either. So I'm not going to take that for face value either. What I do know is that prophetically, anthropologically, and archaeologically, it's flawless. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, cool. Somebody asked the question. It's the sister. She said, how does the 12 tribes chart only consist of northern, central, and southern America when we're scattered among the four corners of the world?
You know, that's something that.
Great question. Because that's clearly what scripture says. Great question. Even though as a woman, you shouldn't be asking these questions anyway. But that is a great question, though.
That I see come up a lot of times, and once again, mainly because of ignorance. If you notice, Judah doesn't have a geographical location. Judah is just the so-called Negroes. You understand? What? Now, a lot of people also don't know, like we are scattered across, but you would have to be some kind of fool to not believe or not understand that the bulk of our captivity is inside of America. That
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with the chart, bro. It's not like niggas came to America. It's not like most of the Israelites came to America so we can fulfill a prophecy talking about that we're gonna be part of a chart, nigga. That's not why. It has nothing to do with that. So, but let's see him keep on reaching here.
if you go and you do the numbers, 99 million so-called Negroes just died crossing the Middle Passage. That means they brought millions of us here to America. Everybody's always worried about some Israelite in some random.
Allegedly, they brought millions of. Allegedly, they brought millions of our people to America. Allegedly,
random country somewhere. Not saying that they're not our brothers, but can we care about the people in Camden that no one cares about? Can we care about the people in Compton that no one cares about? In Roxbury, you understand? So on and so forth in all these different areas. So we are scattered to the four corners, but we're talking about the bulk of these populations. We're talking about the bulk of these tribes as to who they are and where they went. I mean, Kobe Bryant was from Italy. We know there's Israelites in Italy. You got Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman has about 37 brothers and sisters over in Vietnam because his father was in the military. You understand? Found him a Moabite, married her, and then had children there. So are we scattered everywhere? Yes, but you're a Judite if you're here or if you're in Alaska. You understand?
what? You're automatically a Judite if you're in America. If you're in the 48 was it 48 continual states or something like that? If you're in the 48 continuous states or you're in Alaska, you're automatically tribe of Judah. That's what you're telling me. Man, once again, there is a reason why on the last live we did that whole surname exercise because it is not as simple as a fucking chart. This man literally said you're automatically a Judite if you're in America or Alaska. That is so fucking lazy.
If you descend from the Tainos or the Caribbean Indians, you understand, depending on which region, you'd be from the tribe of Simeon or Ephraim, no
Allegedly.
matter where you are. Does that mean Puerto Ricans are only on the island of Puerto Rico? No, there was a Puerto Rican diaspora. There's a whole bunch of us in Chicago, a whole bunch of us in New York. But if you follow where we are and you understand as far as who we're related to, that's our identity. So
Allegedly.
for you, like once again, it's even same thing. We know that there's a lot of so-called West Indians who were sent over to the UK that know that their people is from Jamaica. So therefore, they be from the tribe of Benjamin as well. So
Allegedly.
the reason as to why that the chart covers mainly the Western Hemisphere is because that's the bulk of our captivity.
So you're saying too?
No, it's just because y'all being lazy and y'all don't want to do the legwork of actually looking up each and every one of y'all father's last names. Don't worry. I mean, well, not don't worry, but don't get it fucked up. I get it. That is a challenge within itself. I've done it at least 7 times already. So I haven't found all the history that I need to know with that. I mean, it's very vast. I get it. But that's the work that you're going to have to do. A fucking chart that tries to generalize our people to certain land masses throughout times in history. No, that doesn't work because people, shit by nature, our people are very, what would you call it? Is it called nomadic? If I'm not mistaken, like our people are journeymen by nature. Like we've traveled pretty much all over the planet. So at the end of the day, and even still now, it's even way more convenient to travel. So we migrate all the time. So you can't just generalize certain tribes to a Pacific area like that. Like that's not how that works. And the 12 tribes chart is not in the Bible, man. Not part of history and not part of prophecy neither. Like that's just you guys making shit up. And Aria, please don't start. Don't start with that nigga. That's the same buffoon that tried to say that the world was going to end in 2000. Oh my God. But he got the divine vision of to make a 12 tribes chart. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. What did the 12 tribes chart come down like a sheet like it did in the vision that was given to Peter? Like, come on, man. How did that work out? I would love to know Aria's testimony on the 12 tribes chart.
Also, what I'm getting from that is, let's just say you were over in, I don't know, let's say you were over in African preaching, then the chart would look different to account for those in those particular areas. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
Well, for the most part, but once again, like, you know, there's such a small remnant of us in Africa anyway. And that's another thing. Like, people are always trying to, you understand, include the Yoruba or the Igbos when they're two of the most, you understand, powerful groups in that area of West Africa.
Okay, so what he's saying is no, the chart wouldn't be different. They still got the same chart over there. They got the same chart of Africa, only talking about Israelites in America. Oh.
And that's one thing that we got to get away from. There's something that, listen, are Israelites the greatest people and the chosen people on the face of the earth? Absolutely.
Yes.
But what you have to understand is that when it comes down to history, more so recent history, we lost. We took a L. So stop going and looking for somebody who's glorified, you understand, who's sitting in high seats in the governments and all that. You look for the people in the barrios. Look for the people in the reservations, for the people in the ghettos, for the people who are oppressed, for the people who actually fit the curses. Because there's one thing that I don't understand. Even when people try to go over to Africa to find somebody, they're always picking somebody that never lost their identity. So you're telling me that the Mexicans who went into slavery, you understand, were destroyed by the conquistadors, conquered, lost their identity, have the most Hebrew artifacts out of any single one of the tribes, don't fit the curses, which is complete. I can cuss on here?
No.
No? All right. Just so I know. BS. You understand? Straight up and down. But you're going to go and find me some Hamitic convert, you understand, who never lost anything. They've been fine for the last, 20, 30, 40 generations? It don't make no sense to me.
Hey, what you just said was interesting. So the Mexicans have the most, you say, artifacts out of anywhere?
I want to say it's between the Mexicans and North American Indians that I found the most archaeology. I'm talking down to the Mexicans the so-called Mexican Indians were wearing phylacteries. They found, you understand, shield of Davids inside their earrings, inside their temples. Like, there's more archaeology.
They found shields of David, or they found the star of Molech. Which one? They found shields of David in their earrings. Oh shit. Give me a break. They found shields of David in their earrings. Okay. Did it have 6 points, 7 points, 8 points? Oh my God. Give me a break.
Archaeology down there and amongst Gad, the so-called North American Indian, than I found for anywhere else. Straight up and down.
God. Okay, that part's amazing. That's amazing. And if there's anybody watching who's saying, okay, well, I mean, our brothers is, all right, so here's the thing. We on here, 12 tribes chart, real or fake. The brothers just dropped some knowledge. Anybody in the comment section, what do you have to say to that? Like, how do you respond to that? Is it by chance? Is it a coincidence? Because, you can only see a coincidence so many times, after something's that happening that many times back to back. Come on, you got to have common sense. It can't be a coincidence.
And if I may, you know what I'm saying? I don't mean to cut you off, but just to piggyback off what you said, if you go and you take a look at the lecture that I did, I took a collection of explorers, but basically there was different narratives and different sources that I took from, and it was over like a 400-year period. You understand? It was from the 15th century, you understand, up to about maybe the 17 to 1800s, you understand, maybe even 1900s. And I'm talking about people from different countries, people from Spain, people from Germany, people from Italy, you understand, all who had different vocations. Some of them were friars. Some of them were priests. Some of them were conquistadors. Some of them were explorers. Some of them were sailors. And every single one of them traveled into a different region inside the Americas. And every single one of them all came to the same conclusion, that these people have to be the lost tribes of Israel because of their language, because of their customs, that they all had a Sabbath day every 7 days, that they all had a feast around the time of Passover, that they all had unleavened bread, that they all, you understand, sacrificed fruits, first fruits, that when they went to war, they carried an ark with them, that they circumcised, that they would bathe after certain things because Israel had laws of cleanliness. That if you go and you look at their culture, they didn't have religion, but they followed Levitical law. Because you got somebody down there who's a layman, you understand, who's a friar, who's a priest. He's reading the Bible all day. And he's sitting down there trying to be a so-called humanitarian, studying the North American Indians. And then he starts looking at the Bible, looking at them, and saying when their women are on their menstrual cycle, they separate from them. They're not having sex before they go to war. They're purifying themselves. They have a fast day around the Day of Atonement. What's going on here? And it all starts to fit together. So you're going to tell me that all these sources, all these artifacts, over 400 years, all of this is for naught? No, I don't think so. And like you said, I think it's way more than coincidence. I think it's got to be the truth.
Right. That's a lot of.
That's not the point, bro. The point is not the fact that the bulk of the people in the Western Hemisphere during that time period were not were Israelites or not. Of course, we know that. The point is that you guys try to associate them with each tribe. That's the problem. None of those archaeological digs tell you which exact tribe those people were from. You guys try to force it there. You guys try to force them to fit in one tribe or the other. That's what y'all do and other camps do. And it's just lazy. Okay. The only way you can figure out your tribe is by figuring out the seed of your father. Okay. Your father's patriarchal lineage, because that's what the term race means. That's what the term ethnicity is referring to. It's the only thing. All right. Not trying to figure out what landmass somebody was on for 10 years or 20 years, 100 years. No. Ethnicity only refers to the seed line. That's it. That's how you figure out your race. So I would suggest that if you don't have your father's last name already, you figure out what your father's last name is and start to look up the etymology of that last name, like we did in that surname exercise last week, because it was setting up for this conversation right here. Anyway,
copy it if it is, right? Let me pull one back up. One brother said something that he said, not all Mexicans are Israelites. Check out the black Mexicans. So he's, I guess what he's stating is that, you know how the chart, like you say Mexico, since we talk about Mexico, and this is my understanding, tell me if I'm wrong, sorry. Mm-hmm. All right, well, you say the Mexicans are Israelites. We know not everybody in Mexico is an Israelite. Right. This is giving you a general idea of where these particular brothers could be. Like, here is Mexico. We got them in Mexico. I think that's the general message, correct?
Okay. If anybody was paying attention to what I had stated earlier, right? I stated that the Black Hispanic, or so-called Black Hispanic and Native Indians of Negro or Indian descent on their father's side. So if you go to Puerto Rico, right, they say that Puerto Ricans are composed of mainly 3 races, which is really 2 races and 3 tribes of people, 2 nations from 3 different tribes. They say that there's Negroes there, they say that there's Tainos there, and they say that there's white people there. Well, if you were from Spain, you would be an Edomite. If you were a Taino, you would be an Ephraimite. And if you just so happen to stop at Puerto Rico for a slave port.
What? If you're from Spain, you're automatically an Edomite? Yeah.
And you were a Negro, you'd be a Judite.
What?
So we're not saying that every single Puerto Rican or every single Mexican or every single Brazilian, we're talking about those of Negro or Indian descent. And even the term Indian is a recent term that they were using, because the Indians were called Negroes too when they first got here. I brought that out in the lecture. That's what they were calling the Indians in Brazil. That's what they were calling the Indians in Mexico. They were calling them Negroes. That is a recent classification that we've just been divided by. So the same way Jamaicans aren't West Indians, they're not savages from the West. These are just recent terms. So we're not talking about the conquistadors. We're not talking about those from Spain and Portugal. We're talking about those who were a part of.
Okay, but most of the people during that time period in transatlantic slave trade, those were so-called black people in Spain and Portugal. Yes, were there so-called Caucasians, i.e. Edomites there? Yes, but they were not the majority of the people there. But, you know, you guys just continue to push that bullshit slave narrative. I mean, good grief.
Of the Aztecs, the Incans, the Mayans, you understand? The natives, the indigenous people of the Americas. But the problem is people get so caught up on complexion. Like, if we're going to say that you are the seed of your father, then Bob Marley's white. Then Tia and Tamara's sisters are white. Then they're
Yeah, they're all Edomites.
Edomites. Then Lenny Kravitz. So you can't get caught up on.
Yeah, they're all Edomites. 9 out of 10, they're all Edomites. I would agree with that. For the most part, Tia and Tamara, they're probably Edomites, dog. They're probably darker Edomites. Is that fair?
On complexion, because we know sure as hell that Hamites, that some Hamites could pass for Judites, some Judites could pass for Hamites. You understand? Whatever the case may be, all skin folk ain't your kinfolk. Complexion doesn't determine who you are. Like, realistically, think about it like this, right? You know that there's dark-skinned Ethiopians and light-skinned Ethiopians.
Nah, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
Nah, I didn't know that.
Well, they weren't like necessarily conquered by white people. There's dark skin and light skin in different shades in every single so-called, I mean, blackity black folk like to say melanated races. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can find some dark skinned Asians as well.
Right,
Filipinos, dark skin, and there's light skinned Filipinos. Have you ever seen them fight or say that we're not the same people? Same thing when it comes down to Ethiopians. They're not going to, because the problem is we are slaves in America. So we've been divided by color. We've been divided by sex, by man and woman. We've been divided by age, old and young. We've been divided by language barriers.
Right.
You understand? We could even speak the same language, but you understand, you from the north, I'm from the south, or vice versa. And either way, we're gonna be fighting. You know what I'm saying? I even go down to Texas. I'm at the shooting range with some of my brothers. You understand? And even in jest, you get what I'm saying? I'm down there lighting up this target, and they ain't gonna have this Yankee shoot better than us. So now, even in jest, we're separated from all that. Right. So at the end of the day, the complexion got to go out the window, because I guarantee you, if I ask them, I should have saved this for a damn caller who calls up. But if you ask them if an albino is black, they're gonna say yes. So
good point.
Why don't we get away from the pigmentation?
Okay, but being quote unquote, being albino and being quote unquote so-called Caucasian are two totally different things, dude. Like, everybody knows that, so that doesn't really work. Anyway.
Good point. Good point.
You understand?
You touched on this as you were speaking earlier. I'm gonna ask because somebody wanted to be asked. How is it possible that all the tribes were separated perfectly during the slave trade? You got Judah here, you got Benjamin there, and you got Ephraim here. And I felt like you kind of touched on it, but since it was one of the questions, I'm just go ahead and put it out there. So
bullshit. That's a great question. There's no way that they were just. There's no way during that time period, as people migrated all over the place, where they just perfectly separated that the Israelites were perfectly separated by tribe. All right, Judites on this ship, Benjamites on that ship, uh, Levites on that ship, Gadites on that ship. Like, come on, bruh. Like, it's just that didn't happen, bruh. It's just dumb shit. It's pathetic.
They can get some clarity.
I didn't get a chance to go as in depth as I wanted to on that. There was so much information I was trying to get through, but in order to understand that, okay, we're so far removed from agriculture. You understand? So the best thing that I can use is you
Man.
know somebody who breeds dogs, breeds pit bulls, breeds Rottweilers.
I know a couple.
All right. Well, if they have a kennel, they keep their Rottweilers in one section, they keep their pit bulls in another section. They keep their red nose separate from their blue nose.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Well, you know, it was called chattel slavery for a reason, because they treated us like cattle. So I'm going to give you an example of this. Slavery was business. Slavery was industry. So they, like eventually, once slavery started to become sophisticated, they started to disrupt our family structures. You understand? And that's not to say that as people were getting loaded on the ships or whatever the case may be, that families weren't separated or families weren't separated from plantations. But the point is that I'll give you a couple of examples. There's a people down in the Carolinas known as the Gullah people, right? The Gullah people is what they call themselves today. Originally, they came from Sierra Leone. The so-called white man took all of them in that area, their entire tribe, and brought them to the Carolinas, because you can go look this up in history. They tried to get the so-called Gadite, the so-called North Americans, to grow crops. The majority of Gadites are hunter-gatherers. Not saying that none of them knew anything about agriculture, but a lot of them just followed the herds and the buffalo. And that's why when we pulled that scripture in Deuteronomy, it said that Gad dwells like a lion. How does a lion dwell? He hunts. You understand? That's how a lot of them were. They were hunter-gatherers. So when that crop failed, they said, okay, we got to go find some people to be slaves who can grow rice. And they went and got the Gullah people. And they brought all of them together in order for them to go and grow rice. Well, that's basically the same thing. If you got and in order for you to understand this, and it's very hard if you're a Black and Hispanic for two reasons. One, because we're the children of the Most High, nobody has more compassion than us. Unfortunately, we don't have that compassion on each other.
Right.
And the second thing is, because so much humanity was stripped away from us, we tend, and because we're not savages like the so-called white man, our oppressor, we look at people as humans. Even our oppressor, so many of us love him. So with that being said, you don't have to understand, like we have to understand that in slavery, you were an animal. You were chattel. You were cattle. You were an object to be used fit. So when they found a certain group of people,
For those that were actually enslaved, yes.
who was good for a certain group of labor, they kept them together. And that's the same thing when it came down to the island of Haiti. I don't know if you know, Haiti at one time basically controlled the rum industry, meaning that they grew all the sugar cane. Like the whole reason as to why the Louisiana Purchase happened was because France was growing the food for Haiti inside America and shipping it over to Haiti, because they weren't using Haiti to grow any crops but sugarcane, because they were using the sugarcane in order to make rum, because rum was the biggest industry at that time. See, you look at Haiti, you see your brothers and sisters. The so-called white man who's running a country looks at Haiti and all he sees is crops and workers.
I think that France was still ruled over by so-called Black people at that time, because that would be what, late 1700s. But y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I still, because wasn't that during the time of Napoleon? I could have sworn he was a so-called Black man, but whatever. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn that's during that time period. They were still ruled over by so-called Black people, which means 9 to 10 they were still ruled over by Israelites up until the early 1800s. But anyway.
So what do? You keep that tribe together and bring them there because they can handle that workload. And then they cut all the sugarcane. So they didn't separate us at first. They kept our units together in order to have us work more. And then as it got on and it became sophisticated, they found ways to control us. And ways to control us was separate the men and women, destroy our family structure.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. That's powerful. Listen, I see you asking about when the phone lines gonna open. I got 2 more questions on this list that I have that I need to ask, and then after I ask these 2 questions, we're gonna open up the phone lines. But again, if you just came in and you were not here at the beginning, we made it perfectly clear. Okay, if you call in, if you agree, disagree, or you're still in the middle, undecided, you need to do some more research, whatever the case may be. There's gonna be a respect for sure. Don't call in. Hey, listen, the brother can handle himself. I ain't really got to tell you this, but we're gonna keep it a respect for sure. You know what I'm saying? We're a family friendly show here. So you call in, please do not disrespect my guest. I'm looking at some of the comments. Listen, some of the comments we're gonna block. And
I mean, listen, you don't listen. I personally, you understand, like I don't know if you know this, you understand, Commander Journey Hunter raises warriors. You get what I'm saying?
Like that's why I just said the brother can handle himself. Trust me, I've seen it. I've seen it. But the thing is, we want to get edified because it's a lot of genuine people here actually looking to learn.
Right.
And we always have a few that come and cause a disturbance and then pull away. But we finna open the phone lines. I'm gonna go ahead and ask you
now. Yeah, I'm about to say let's finish off your questions and then we could definitely open the phone lines.
Done. Okay, so I got a question for somebody that says, let me see. Arsareth is shown on the map in Africa. It's not America. Can you explain it?
Okay, there's also a land called Arsareth in Turkey. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's what I want to know, right?
Yeah, that's nuanced. The Ashereth conversation, that's there's a lot of nuance in there. I believe that's 2nd Ezra 13. Let me see. I might go to it. Just give me a second. 2nd Ezra 13. Hold up. 2nd Ezra. Hurry up. I take too long with this. Come on, hurry up. All right, 2nd Ezra 13. Is it like 15th verse, something like that? Okay. Land, okay. All right, okay. Yeah, let's read the reference. Hold on, give me all right, let's see something. Let's get it real quick. Let's get the reference point. Stop sharing. Let's get the reference point. Yeah, I found it. I definitely found it. Appreciate that though. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and get these comments real quick. Well, actually, hold on. Let's save it for a second. Let's save that for a second. All right. All right. I should be able to see that on the screen. Move. Thank you. All right. Give a few seconds. All right, let's get the point. 2nd Ezra 13. I'm gonna start at verse 39. And whereas thou sawest, he gathered another peaceful multitude unto them. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salamansar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. So, of course, that's a nuanced term. I've seen we went over this like it was 2 years ago, but there were references where it referenced that to quote unquote America. There's also references to that potentially being regions in on the continent of so-called Africa. Now, keep in mind, this is written by the Israelite Europeans. So the question is, what were they exactly referring to when they translated Second Ezra 13? So that's what we have to look at. What they call the Aristoc. I'm not gonna even try that word right now. I always get it wrong, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So what were they trying to get at through that translation when they translated that in the early 1600s? So that would be the question that would have to be asked. So, other than that, let's go ahead and stop sharing. Boom, boom, boom. All right, back to the. Let's get these comments real quick. Boy, D Real G's in the building. Hold on, let me see. I didn't get a chance to shout out the big chef Yonde, Israel's #1 chef. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the support, brother, coming through. Watch the genius dissect the topic. I'm just a nigga with the Bible, bro. The boy D Real G in the building, man. Another fellow NWB. You know what I mean? There's got to be some Aboriginals still left in Spain somewhere in the landmass. Nargis in the big cities. Thank you. I have to look that up. Nargis or Nargis, maybe. And just regular black people from Spain. Yep. He's talking about Bob Marley and Tia Tamara. Facts, they white. Thank you. That motherfuckers Edomites, man. And of course, he referenced 2nd Ezra 13 and 45. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. But let's go ahead and get back to this. I'm trying to figure out how much more of this video we're gonna go. But let me make sure it loads up. Give it a couple seconds. All right, let's do it.
If we're gonna base it off the scriptures, right? And I also broke this down in the lecture. First of all, there's certain things. Okay, when you go and you get the Apocrypha's right now, the copies that they have are in Greek. So there's certain Greek transliterations that words change. The same thing happened in the New Testament. For example, I'm not sure if you know this, maybe you do. If you see OC in the New Testament, what does that actually translate back into Hebrew? Hosea. So why is it that Hosea, you understand, from Hebrew turns into Hosea, and into Greek, it turns into Osei? The same way why Elias was Elijah. The same way why Jesus is Joshua. Because it's two different languages, so therefore it's a transliteration. So Arsareth is actually a mistransliteration of Arataza, or for some of y'all who speak, you understand what I want to call Yiddish or modern Hebrew, Aretz, which is another country or another land. So it didn't have an actual name. They just went to another country. Now, here's the thing. They went to another country where no man dwelt. You can't tell me that Africa was uninhabited.
That's true.
If you're telling me that Africa is uninhabited, then you're lying.
That's true.
There's no way around it. Everybody wants to sit there and talk about how the oldest civilizations were over there. Kush, Egypt, you understand, so on and so forth. The Nile Valley civilizations. Africa's been inhabited. Everybody wants to call it the motherland. And then you're going to tell me that the scripture says they went to never where never a man dwelt? Well, here's what I want to know. I'm saying that the 10 lost tribes are the people that you call Indians and Hispanics of Negro or Indian descent on their father's side. Who was in America before them?
Now, for the callers, that's a question for you when you call in.
Who was in America before them? Nobody. They went to a land where never a man dwelt. And that's why you find all these artifacts here. That's why you find fringes and borders of blue among them. That's why they were speaking Hebrew. You can't get around it.
That's true, but it still doesn't validate the 12 tribes chart. Once again, you guys try to pinpoint and separate them into one of the 10 tribes, what would be Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Issachar, Reuben, Simeon, Manasseh, Ephraim, and Zebulun. I don't believe I'm not missing one. Oh, and you could say Dan, depending on how you look at Dan, but I mean Dan was in Dan was also in Europe as well during that time. What do they call them? The Danish, or they were also in quote unquote so-called West Africa, things of that nature. So, like I said, the nuance of understanding where our people migrated to throughout history completely destroys the 12 tribes chart. It just does. But anyway.
Con. Powerful. Listen, last question. Then we're going to open the lines. Somebody said, when Christ said to flee to the mountains in Luke 21, how do you know, or how can you prove that the mountains were the mountains of Africa and not elsewhere?
What? Okay. Well, a lot of people like to turn around, right? And first of all, when Christ said that, this is something else too. Who was the prominent tribes who was inside Judea at that time?
You're talking about Judah and Benjamin, and was it Levi?
And Levi. Because the other tribes had already left because of the Assyrian captivity, some 700 to 800 years prior to Christ coming on the scene. He couldn't have been talking to the northern kingdom. He was talking to the southern kingdom.
Basically.
So if he's talking to the southern kingdom, they had to go into West Africa. Oh, and that's why there's also archaeology on that. And that's why you have people like Rudolph R. Windsor, you understand, which everybody has Babylon to Timbuktu. That's just one historical reference. You understand? Never mind, you understand, the other artifacts, or never mind, you understand, what the hell is it called? When the Portuguese were over there. The Portuguese were over in West Africa, and they were turning around and saying the same thing that the conquistadors were saying when they found the North American Indians. They were like, yo, this group of people is separate from these Africans. They're following Judaism. So the very fact that you know is because of all that archaeology, all that anthropolitica data. So you can't say they went somewhere else unless where the hell did Judah, Benjamin, and Levi go? You tell me they're going to go further into Europe to flee Roman persecution when the white man was running Europe then?
Okay, but the white man like that wasn't really... Oh, here we go with this bullshit. Bruh, the so-called white man didn't barely ran Europe. That's a farce, okay? What was it like? Maybe, depending on which parts of Europe, because he had issues. If you look up a lot of the story of Julius Caesar, he had issues taking over large parts of Europe for a very long time, because a lot of those tribes, which were Israelites, by the way, a lot of those tribes, they had much more understanding of the terrain. Kind of like when a lot of the Europeans came over here to quote unquote Americas, they had to go to war with the people that were on these lands, the quote unquote Aboriginals, because they understood the terrain. Like, it wasn't just they just came over here and just take over. No, nigga, they had to earn the right to control the land. Now, once again, it was so-called black and so-called white Europeans, but still. But I mean, seriously, who were the Romans? Who were the Romans in the book of Romans? Who were the Corinthians in the book of Corinthians? Who was the Thessalonians in the book of Thessalonians? Who was the Galatians in the book of Galatians? Or the Gauls, my bad. Who were the Gauls in the book of Galatians? Who were the people of Colossus in the book of Colossians? Who were the people in Ephesus during the time of in the book of Ephesians? Like, what are you talking about? John the Revelator. His abode was in Ephesus. When he finally returned from that island, he went back to Ephesus. He didn't go back to Jerusalem. He didn't go into so-called Ethiopia or so-called West Africa. He didn't do none of that shit. He went back to Ephesus, man. So I don't understand. I don't understand where these niggas get this argument from. This is ridiculous.
Doesn't make any sense. You're going to go to where he doesn't have an empire or where his empire doesn't have a grip. And at that time, it was Africa. So they fled into West Africa.
Come on. All right, we're finna open these phone lines. Listen. It's 124 people watching. We should have 124 likes. If you
get them likes up, share the video. You understand? Same thing for anybody watching on Cross the Line. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Salakia.
Nah, you good? Come on. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, if they're watching on
I guess it's the first time I can do this, but you know what? Same thing for this video. You fucking with it, you come in, you fuck with the video, like it, share it. You know what I'm saying? I never really do that type of stuff because I really don't want a lot of idiots on my channel, but like it, share it. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate all the support. Once again, I appreciate all the brothers coming through for the live, and I appreciate all the brothers coming through for the playback whenever this live stream is over. So you know how that go. But like and share, you know what I'm saying, all that good stuff. One time for your boy.
Cross.
Oh, sorry.
The line, they probably can't see my borders and banners with the phone number going across the top of the screen. So if you could type it in for them, I'm also finna put it scrolling across the bottom of my screen.
All right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna share my screen on OBS so that this way they'll be able to see you too.
Oh, okay.
And then you know what? It's gonna be a little small though.
Sorry. Well, if they can hear me, 866-718-0557. 866-718-0557. Again, call in. Bring your questions, man. Bring your evidence, bring your research, but keep it respectful. I'm finna open up the phone lines. Give me 1 second, see if we got anybody holding.
Listen, you could talk greasy if you want. I don't know if you know we live for that.
Yeah, I know. All right, we got a caller. Caller, inside the nation. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, my name is Zuriel. I'm calling from New Mexico.
Go ahead. What's your question? What's your comment?
My question, am I on live right now?
You live. What's happening, brother? Shalom.
Oh, sure. Oh, hey, shalom. Hey, my question, I don't know if I was on live or not. My question actually has to do with, I believe it, first off, let's get it straight. I believe in the 12 charts, in the sign. I believe in the chart. It's actually in the Bible that it says that they'll join the two sticks together and make it one stick in the end times. My question has to do with
What?
Have you found, specifically like the South Pacific Islanders, like Hawaiians? I've been looking at some historical stuff, and they actually, the original Hawaiians look black. Same with, the Samoans. And I was looking at just some of the conditions, and it seems like they fit some of the conditions that are stated in Deuteronomy. So I wanted to know what your take is on that. Also, speaking of those people, also in the islands, those islands were continuously used as testing by the U.S. military for nuclear testing. And those people that live on islands like that hardly anybody knows about, those islands have been decimated. They live in abject poverty. So that was my question. The other question I wanted to ask you about was about the Seminole Indians. And I was wondering if you heard or did any research as far as whether the Aborigines from Australia actually fit those, that they could possibly be Israelites as well. I did see a bunch of stuff with them as far as them being in slavery, and some New Zealanders, what they call blackbirding, being sent to Australia as slaves as well. So that's pretty much it, man. I don't have to stay online. You can go in and answer the question.
No, you can stay on the line, just, you know what I'm saying, just in case, because I might ask you a question or two in return. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's how I teach. That's how Yahweh Shah taught too. He would ask you a question in return. You'd answer your own question and get yourself edified. You understand? But okay, in total, no. The people that you just named, as far as Pacific Islanders, like those from Easter Island, Hawaiians, as well as what you said, the Aborigines of Australia, those are Japhetic people. They do not descend from our people, nor do they fit the curses. And here's another thing. You can't just go look for any single oppressed people, because at the end of the day, let me tell you something. They still know their culture. They still have their culture. They weren't completely destroyed or wiped out. Same thing with the Hawaiians. The Hawaiians still, you understand, got names over there like Hana Pepe and all that. You understand? What's your last name, if you don't mind?
Oh, my last name?
If you don't want to share it, that's fine. But I guarantee you understand, it comes from a Caucasian. I guarantee you it comes from an oppressor. You understand? Whereas the Hawaiians don't have that. You know what I'm saying? Like they still have remnants of their culture intact. Like, listen, we have to understand something. You understand? And I give a damn who I offend with this. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. He is our oppressor, and he will oppress absolutely anybody. He oppresses his own people. Let's not act like they didn't have a civil war in America. You get what I'm saying? Let's not say like they're not constantly at war with each other. You get what I'm saying? So with that being said, you like he will oppress absolutely anybody. But if you want to go and weigh the destruction, once again, you have to say, did they discontinue from their heritage or not? You understand? The Hawaiians didn't completely discontinue from their heritage. They just had their property annexed. They were just partially colonized.
Okay. Yeah. Question. How did they? If you know, do you know how?
You good?
Oh, okay. No, I was looking at the picture and I saw him still talking. I guess it's a lag. How did they? What's the word I'm looking for? Travel from one place to another, because I don't think those islands were originally inhabited by anyone, because they were in the northern hemisphere. So, what's the word I'm looking for? Not immigrate.
Migrate.
Migrate. Thank you, man. How was that? Was that a migration? Because you said they were
Japhetic, yes. I understand. That's another thing too. You said something earlier about how they were dark skinned or whatever. Once again, all dark skinned people aren't. East Indians are dark. Ain't nobody try to claim those snake eaters. None of them.
That's
nobody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What I was talking about in
no,
respect, like
you're talking about the migration. I'm going to get into
those
that.
Those guys like have full blown afros. You know what I mean? Like, and they actually look. They have some features that kind of favor Judah, Benjamin.
Okay, Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian. We're not Hamites.
Correct.
So once again, you get what I'm saying? Are you going to have certain people who can look alike? I mean, at the end of the day, we all come from Adam and Eve, but the Lord separated nations. He created different nations. Okay. He created different races, and he only chose one. So once again, you have to start getting away from the carnality aspect. But as far as the whole migrational pattern, Europe was originally inhabited by Japhetic people. You understand? The lands of Gog and Magog, what you know as Russia today, the lands of you understand, Gomer and what you would consider Macedonia or Greece today, All of those were Japhetic lands, and yes, they were a dark-skinned people. But the so-called white man, being the oppressor that he is, the same way he calls himself a Jew today and lives in our land, is the same way he's trying to say he's a South African, the same way he says he's an Egyptian. You know, it bugs me out that the only time that he doesn't portray himself as everybody is slavery. 12 years a slave, niggas is slaves, and he's the master. You understand? But when it comes back to Egypt, because it's glorious, he's Horus, he's Seth, he's Pharaoh, he's Moses, he's God.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Through that.
So the whole point is that when these animals started to migrate, you understand, into Europe, they did the same thing. They would come in acting peaceful, then they would submerge the people, they would go to war with them, they would take over and then start calling themselves by that nation's land, and they pushed them out. And those people eventually were pushed out of Europe, out of Russia, out of those lands, and they went into the Polynesian islands.
Okay, but bro, the Edomites did not push the Japhetic people out like that. Now, yeah, they just didn't do that. First off, the Israelites had that land at that time. Even during the Macedonian time period, a lot of that land was ruled over by the Israelites, i.e. the ancient Greeks or the ancient people of that time. Now, granted, what do you call them? The Dorian Greeks. They were of the tribe of Dan. Now, granted, I think they had some mixture of I think they were intermingled of the of like Dan and Philistines or Hamitic, the Hamitic peoples, but they were from the tribe of Dan, Samson and things of that nature. The what they call the Spartans, as we know, thanks to Chronicles of Judah, they are the descendants of Samson / Hercules. So, I mean, bro, the Japhetic people were being kicked out. That didn't happen. But if you're talking about the way we are right now, no, they kicked the Israelites out. They overtook the Israelites in Russia. What they call it, the Rorik dynasty and things of that nature. They eventually took over Western Europe after a certain time period, which was all Israelites pretty much. A little bit of Canaanite there, but especially the rulership, the royal class was definitely Israelites. So no, they did not push out. That was not Japhetic people back in the medieval Europe. That's just big fat lies.
That's where they migrated from. That's why even if you go look at the king's list of Macedonia. It's going to go from Alexander to Philip to some Hawaiian sounding name like Hanapepe or something. How do you go from, you understand, Hananakna to Philip? It's because there was a regime change there.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a regime change, but that didn't happen. But that wasn't all of the area, though. That was just Macedonia, and that's only part of the story. They leave out a lot of the Israelite influence in that area for a reason, because they don't want you to understand that, wherever Jacob is, Esau tries to follow and take over. But whatever.
Hey, I appreciate the time, man.
God, we appreciate you calling.
No sweat.
Hey, Araya, hey, call in. Does he agree with Ron Dalton's genetic findings? Call in and ask your question. All right. A good response. Let me close this line out. See if we got any more calls holding. Hey, listen, if you putting questions in the comment section, it's moving. It's moving. It's like 100 and about 40 people watching. So the comment section is moving sometimes where I can't read them all. So you got to call. You got to call. All right, we got to call the caller in. Hold on. Caller, thanks for calling Inside the Nation. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Israel.
Name Israel. All right. Go ahead.
Popular name.
Hello?
What's happening?
All right, what's going on?
Hey, Shalom. You got a question or a comment? What's going on?
Yeah, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the guy's name with RCPK?
Captain
Captain
Kataza.
Kataza.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got a question for him. I want to ask if you could read 2nd Ezra 13, 40 through 45 without adding ships in there.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, let's see where this goes.
Hold on 1 second.
We said 13 through 45.
2nd Ezra 13.
40 through 45.
I'm very familiar with this.
All right, I'm not gonna go too much further. I might let this question rock just because this might be an interesting dialogue here. We'll let this go and then we'll go into the next video with Gorilla Hebrew and Sakari. We'll go to that video after this one, probably. But let's see what happens.
All right, you want me to read it or you want to read it?
No, I want you to read it.
Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Osei the king, whom Salmanasseh, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land. Before I read any further, how did they get carried over water?
They walked through the narrow path.
Where does it say that?
No, what I want to do.
No. I know what you wanted me to do.
I will tell you about adding and taking away from the scripture. So I want to know why I always read that.
Slow down real quick, right? Because wait, hold on, brother. It's not gonna go nowhere if we talk over each other, right? So what you're gonna have to do is show just a little bit of decorum. You get what I'm saying? And with that being said, you just said that we're not supposed to what? Add or take away. Now, nothing that we just read in this verse talked about entering the narrow passage of the water in this verse. You get what I'm saying? We're talking about when Salmanasseh, the king of Assyria, led them away captive, he carried them over the waters and then came them into another land. So how did they get carried over the waters?
They just told you.
No, you added. You understand?
My question to you is, I wanted to know because I use that to say that that's how the northern tribes came over here, but that don't say that. They just
now. Once again, we're not. Hold on.
Boats in there. You don't say nothing about no boats.
Listen, we are not.
Around the whole continent of Africa for a year and a half.
I'll let you finish.
Fairy tale. Y'all need to quit promoting that.
All right. So now, here's the point. We didn't even read to that point. We didn't get to when they left Assyria. We're talking about how they were brought into Assyria. And you added to the word. It doesn't say they waded through the water. It said, how does something get carried? You know, brother, I don't think that you're emotionally stable enough to handle the dialogue. Like I don't think that you're disciplined enough to be able to even have this conversation. Now, I know that you called up with a preconceived notion because you think you know something, but answer the question honestly. How does something get carried over water?
He off the line, Kyrie. He hung up. But what I just got from that was, he said you added boats in, but then we asked him how did they do. He said narrow path. I didn't see that.
You didn't see that at all. And it didn't say that they walked, that they moved, that they waded. When something is carried over water, meaning it's on the water, it's a ship. It's a boat. You understand?
Right.
So he didn't want to say that. That's why he knew he was jammed up and he tried to evade it, because ships don't have to be mentioned. If you're traveling by water, guess what you're using? A boat, dum-dum.
Again.
Yeah, that was that was dumb. He said you can't add to the scriptures, but then he gonna say he gonna use, what was it, verse 40 and say, oh, it's a narrow path. No, nigga, it says waters, bro. Like, come on, man. That was very lazy for him to do. That wasn't the right way to tackle this conversation. And the problem is with this conversation is people don't really understand how to figure out their tribe at all. So they don't even know where to start. So unfortunately, it allows certain things like a 12 tribes chart to really hold weight when it shouldn't, because people don't understand it, that 9 out of 10 your name is not a slave name. That's You didn't get it from a so-called Caucasian. We've already been over this. Shout out to the boy SOD and Swint for helping me for hopping on a live last week, last Saturday, and we went over and we did a surname exercise. And we did this for a reason, because a lot of people do not understand that your names are not slave names at all. For the most part, they're not, because for the most part, so-called black people in this country are not descendants of slaves. Their ancestors were never enslaved during that early America time period. That's hyperbolic. All right. Of course there were some, but it's a hyperbolic narrative. But just getting back to the point, you must figure out your father's last name and then go from there when it comes to your patriarchal lineage. That's the only way you can figure out what your race is. That's the only chance you got. Not by going by some goofy ass chart. But speaking of which, we're gonna go ahead and go into the next video. I'm pretty much done with this one. All right. Now, hold on. Pause. I believe I got timestamps for this one. Let me look at my timestamps real quick. Give me a second. Okay, so I think it's like the 9-minute mark. 9 minute. Am I right there? I can't even see shit. Okay, so we should be there. All right, so another 12 tribes chart.
All praise to the Most High, right? So this is more. So this first slide was just kind of dealing with.
Hold up, what the fuck? Hold up. This shit tripping, man. All right, thank you. Why did it go back to that? I don't even understand. All right, hold on. Give me a second. Move. All right.
How much a naysayer,
Bro. Can you stay paused? Come on, tablet.
visual 12 tribes chart, right? Other
Shut up. All right, hold on. All right. No, why does it keep? Stay. Don't play, motherfucker. Anyway. All right. So this is Sakari, a guerrilla Hebrew, leader of Sakari, the quote unquote chief high priest. I'm FRE from Christianity, meaning I ain't gotta listen to no lying ass preacher. Oh man, I ain't gonna lie, that hook do ride. I ain't gonna lie to you. But anyway, apparently 7 months ago, I know he debated a guy on this topic. This is not the debate. This was an extension of that debate. Apparently, he wanted to sit down and quote unquote break more things down of the quote unquote 12 tribes chart. We'll see how long we'll go with this video. I did put some timestamps on, so allow me to kind of like adapt to certain things. So we'll let things flow, and yeah, we'll go from there. Make sure we ain't got no comments. Oh no, we do not. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this. Like we're not new to this. Let's rock.
right? All praise to the Most High, right? So this is more. So this first slide was just kind of dealing with the debate. You go back. So first and foremost, we have here what I call the quantified visual 12 tribes chart, right? Other 12 tribe charts have existed. There's nothing at all wrong with them, but sometimes people get simple, or maybe not even necessarily people get simple, but sometimes people don't fully grasp what the chart is saying, right? So the spirit got on me to put this chart together and to make sure not to not to put the Sakari or anything like that on there, to have something that was neutral, that all camps can have available to themselves and they can utilize out there on the streets. So I have, of course, the name of the tribes, the name of the people they are so called today, and some visual aids, right? And all of that is very important, right? Because our people are visual learners. And we first and foremost also have to understand that all of these tribes here are general. This is not an absolute that every single African American is from the tribe of Judah, or every single Central American is from the tribe of Zebulun. These again are all in general, right? When you deal with the indigenous people of Central America, you're dealing with the tribe of Zebulun. A lot of black people were brought there in slavery and or especially migrated into Central
Allegedly.
America from the Caribbean. Those won't be Zebulonites. Those will be Benjamites, right? Who came from
Allegedly.
those Benjamites. You also have Levites that came over there into Central America, right? So these are not the absolute of.
You hear how he just mentioned 3 separate tribes that entered into South America, but yet he wants me to believe that the ones of South America are automatically Zebulun. Yeah, okay. That makes a lot of sense, bro.
Of course, it's a chart, and you can only go so in depth, but they're there to cause people to ask questions. Let's get that in Ezekiel aside.
Yeah,
Hold on, Zabal, meet me real quick.
y'all gotta go on the internet. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, and I will start at verse 19. It says, I'll start at verse 16. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions.
Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Read on.
Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph,
the
stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions.
The northern kingdom. Read on.
And join them one to another into one stick.
Right. When you look up that word stick in the Hebrew, it's the word plank. Right. Go ahead. So a board, like you see here with the chart. Read on.
And they shall become one in thy hands.
And they shall become one in thine hand. Right. Read.
And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these?
So the purpose of the 12 tribes chart is to make our people come and ask questions. So every single answer is not there, right? Somebody's going to have to inquire to get in depth and get particular sometimes. But the purpose of it is to get our people to ask questions. They're supposed to come and say, well, what does this mean? I'm a Dominican. What does that mean, Simeon? Right? Help me to understand. It's supposed to, right? Read.
It says, say unto them.
So when he read the word stick and said it means plank, he really thinks that basically the term stick in Ezekiel is can be in reference to a fucking 12 tribes chart. I want y'all to we're digging into the psychology of these type of maneuvers that these camps really do. Like you're seeing the psychology here. You see how they try to really take the scriptures and really try to they really force it on such a grand in such a grand gesture type of way.
Thus,
Thus saith the Lord God, Yahweh, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows,
read on,
and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be in my hands.
And the ultimate thing that this 12 tribes chart symbolizes is the reunification of all the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. That's the
what? Man,
number one thing that the chart is a symbol of, right? So what we have to understand is that it is when the Most High commanded Ezekiel to do this, it was for a reason, and this reason has came, through the Spirit, through the elders, to make sure to have this out there, right? That this is going to be there for the purpose of causing our people to make inquisition, and for the symbol of all of these people coming back together as the one family that they always have been, right? And again, I have the visuals there so people understand it's not a skin color thing, or it's not just a black thing like people often mistake it for. It's a thing of what they now call BIPOC, right? Who knows about the term BIPOC? It's a new term. I've been hopping on it. BIPOC. BIPOC means Black and Indigenous people of color, right? So the reason why they created the term BIPOC is to separate Blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians from all other people of color, because we're the ones that actually face oppression. So that's even something that's recognized on a worldly level, where they know that you could use the term people of color, but are Asians oppressed? Are East Indians oppressed? Are the damn Hamites even oppressed? No, right? But when you deal with the Black and Indigenous people of color, they recognize that there is a special oppression. There's special disadvantages that we particularly have, right? So even the world acknowledges that and refers to us as one on a worldly sense, right? When that damn pandemic was going on, we all know that all of a sudden these three communities just kept getting named in order as the most at risk, as the people who was getting affected the worst: Black, Latino, Native Indian, right? So that's what this chart is about, and it's happening, and we're seeing it happen even in the world, right? But the Most High has commanded us to go out here with this chart to symbolize us all coming back together, right, as the one family that we were in the beginning, right? So
now one thing that he did say is true about the bullshit promotion of the quote unquote scamdemic, how they targeted towards so-called people of color, so-called Blacks, and so-called Hispanics. Yes, that is true. But once again, that does not distinguish each tribe. But he's going to try to make an attempt, but he's going to be very slick about what he's really trying to do. But we'll get to that.
I'm gonna call for you next slide, but next slide is here, right? So Daniel 12:4, right? Read that aside.
What?
Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. It says, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased."
So as we get closer to the end of time, right, the end of days, so to speak, the last days, knowledge shall be increased. So we go all the way back. Let me hand me where I got Mark's laws right here. So we go all the way back here to a book called Marks of the Lost Race, right? This is written by Elder Bivens, sometimes called Abba Bivens, E. Bivens, right? And he's the one that founded One West, the school at 1 West 125th Street, originally the Israeli School of Tanakh, later renamed the Israeli School of Universal Practical Knowledge, and then all the schools that were birthed from it.
Now, keep in mind, for those of us who understand, who have an understanding of the Hebrew, the term Abba is reference to father. Now, a lot of those groups back in the day, between the 60s, you can say before that, but let's say 50s, 40, let's say like 30s and 40s, all the way up into the 80s, where you want to talk about the 5 percenters and things of that nature. They would call their leaders father, whether it would be of course, quote unquote Abba Bivens, I know in the nation, I know in the 5%ers, i.e. the nation of quote unquote gods and earths, Clarence 13X was also called he was also called quote unquote Allah the Father. Like just madness, man. Like these people glorify themselves, and others that follow them glorify themselves to such an incredible degree. Is really maddening. But you see how he's basically calling himself a father by saying Abba. give me a break.
He didn't have an understanding of the 12 tribes chart, contrary to popular belief. You have a individual in it, and Garfield brought this up actually in the debate. You have an individual on the internet who he died a couple years ago, an elder brother by the name of Naphtali ben Naphtali, right? And he said that Elder Bivens had the chart out there, and he said, "Oh yeah, I just got this to get people in," and then we tell them later that it's not true. First off, let's think about this, right? How would you expect people to trust you if you hook them in with a lie and then you told, "Oh, that was a lie the whole time. I just said that to get you in here." Number one, if the first thing that you do to me is lie to me, that sets a horrible precedence for the rest of our relationship, our friendship, right? Number one. So that's not even sensible.
Okay, but the problem with what you're stating is he didn't tell everybody that. He just told Naphtali ben Naphtali and people that were very high ranking at the time. He told them. That select group, yeah, the 12 tribes chart, that's not really accurate at all. We just do it because we're trying to get people to come in. Duh. Like, of course he wasn't going to tell everybody that. That would have destroyed the whole movement. Duh. Anyway.
But moreover, Elder Bivens never had a 12 tribes chart.
Bullshit.
He never had that. But what's interesting is the individual who is critiquing the 12 tribes chart is identifying himself as the tribe of Naphtali. How did the man come to that conclusion, right?
Well, maybe he figured it out by actually having an understanding of his father's patriarchal lineage. Maybe. That could have happened. Not saying it's likely, but maybe that could have happened. You know, so it's what it is.
He's a liar, right? Like many jealous former elders who are contemporary with our elder. There's an envy there because what he did and how it's spread versus them that exists there. He never had a 12 tribes chart. The 12 tribes chart comes from his successors, right? And not even his direct successors, one of the sons of his successors, which is a man by the name of Ariah, right? And what's funny is, next slide. What's funny is Ariah, there's this whole thing with Ariah. Let me come out of here real quick. There's this whole thing with Ariah because people go, see, Ariah, he had a dream of the chart. It's a magical dream. Like, I know, and all the super chat I'm seeing, y'all know, y'all about Shimmy, y'all break a thumb mouth of water, right? So here's the cold thing about it. Like, I know the Most High God is not dealing with a lot of these people who say this stuff. I know that they don't understand how the Most High operates and how he communicates to his servants. I know they don't. No one ever said that Ariah had a dream of a 12 tribes chart. It's Ariah had a dream that woke him up in the middle of the night. And because he was up in the middle of the night, he just started studying. And the conclusion of his studies that night gave him the understanding, right? I know these guys have never been woke up out of a cold sleep by a dream, and it compelled them to open the scriptures and the Most High show them something special. I know these individuals have never experienced that. I know I've experienced it many a night. So I know these guys, the reason they can't get it is the Most High is not dealing with them. And part of the reason they're so adamantly against it is because they're envious of the fact that the Most High is not dealing with them, and the Most High chose in his sovereignty to deal with somebody else. We have to remember we are vessels. Anything we know, anything we do is only because the Most High decided to allow that to happen with us. He decided to use us. You just better hope he keeps using you and he don't just throw you away, because at any given moment, he can decide to say, okay, I'm done with you. Bye. You're out of here. Now you're bugged. You on the street, you in Skid Row somewhere on dope, right? At any moment when he feels like, right? So we have to understand that. But these guys, they don't understand what it's like for the Most High to deal with them. So they don't get that. It wasn't the chart came down in a magical dream. No. Think about Peter, right? When Peter had a vision and he had to think about it. Then he encountered Cornelius and went, oh, that's what the dream was about. So it's never the chart just comes Judah, African American. No, that ain't how it happened. He got to reading in the scriptures, and the Most High got to showing him things as he's reading, as he's studying, right? Not it.
So are we trying to really compare him to Peter? Is that what we're doing? Because it didn't take much studying for Peter to figure that out. Once again, Peter had actually divine preference on him. He didn't, he had to contemplate the dream for a little bit, but once the guards came up and he saw Cornelius, he knew exactly in the spirit, because he actually has spiritual powers. He could actually spiritually perceive certain things that the average Israelite could not at the time, because he was an actual prophet, i.e. an apostle. Like, you're trying to compare Arya to Peter. Please stop. I guess that's another person that's that's reincarnated, quote unquote reincarnated, because that shit ain't scriptural neither. But that's another topic for another day.
Was just handed to him. The thing that has to be understood, right? We go back. All right, so this was for the debate about Garfield offering himself as a sacrifice, right? So when I really start the body of the debate and the spirit, this is the first thing, right? So this is a quote from the Haitian Declaration of Independence, right? And you know, I came with the mission statement of continuing the work of my ancestors, right? Of the Haitian Revolution. It says, the justice of God, I have seen two classes of men born to cherish, assist, and succor one another, mixed in a word and blended together, crying for vengeance and disputing the honor of the first blow, blacks and yellows, right? Or blacks and Latinos. That term wasn't what it is today, right? Just like it's African American today. It's not black or Negro or whatever. In the Creole, it's you got the black people and you got the yellow people, right? Whom the redefined duplicity of Europeans has for a long time endeavored to divide. So he's acknowledging that the white man has spent his whole time during the conquest of trying to keep us apart, right? You who are now consolidated, he's saying we're now together, right? And make but one family, right? Without doubt, it was necessary that our perfect reconciliation. It's important to note the phraseology he's using. Perfect reconciliation, right? Meaning he is acknowledging that we were once together. And then the white man came and endeavored to divide us. And now we're back together, right? Our perfect reconciliation should be sealed with the blood of your butchers, right? So basically, what should bring us back together is killing the white man. That's what he said, right? Similar calamities have hung over our prescribed head. We've gone through the same type of oppression, right? A similar door to strike your enemies has signalized you. The like fate is reserved for you, and the like interest must therefore render you forever one. This is what the 12 tribes chart is about. It's the same thing that the Haitian Revolution was about, to render Black and Latino people forever one, right? Indivisible and inseparable. Maintain the previous concord. This is important because he's saying it outright. We were once again, well, when? The Northern Kingdom Latinos were just over here, and then we got brought here. So what is this previous concord he's talking about? He must be alluding to something in the past, right? Here's the interesting thing I have, and I showed this on my Instagram story in my home. I got a picture of a later emperor of Haiti, Emperor Faustin, and his wife in their coronation robes. Anybody can look this up. And they got these magnificent, glorious robes that they wearing when they're getting sworn in, fringes on them robes. You see what I'm saying? It's important to understand this stuff, because where is he getting these ideas? And then I got the justice of God part. So he's acknowledging the Most High. He's acknowledging his sanctioning of the revolution and what he's doing, right? So he's acknowledging the Most High. He's acknowledging these two people are one. We see fringes, we see things like this. So we can only conclude that there was an understanding of our ancient identity that was had by the Haitian revolutionists, right? Moving on. Maintain the previous concord, that happy harmony amongst yourself. It is the pledge of your happiness, your salvation. That's important, because he's identifying the reconciliation and unification of blacks and Latinos as salvation. And that's exactly what we read in Ezekiel 37. Read that again, Asad.
Oh my God.
Ezekiel 37 and 18. And
also Asad Salaki, make sure you watch it for hands if anybody got the hand.
Okay. You want me to start from where I started in Ezekiel 37 or just get to the point?
Get the point.
Okay. Ezekiel 37 and 18. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto you, saying, will you not show us what thou meanest by these?
Mm-hmm.
Say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows.
The yellows, go ahead.
And will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick.
The so-called blacks, go ahead.
And they shall be one in my hands.
Read on.
It says, and the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thy hand before their eyes. And say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone.
He's going to save us, right? Go ahead.
And will gather them on every side, and will bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel.
Make our salvation. We're going to be brought back together for the purpose of our salvation. So what the emperor is doing here is recognizing, he's talking about that. It is the pledge of your happiness, your salvation. You will be taken from the heathen, made one, right? Finish that.
It says, and one king shall be king to them all.
Who is that one king? Yahweh Shai Mashiach, who the world calls Jesus Christ. That's that one king, right? So when we talk about his return, everybody knows that's salvation. When they saw him, they said, you have seen salvation just from seeing him, because his name, what is Yahweh Shai? He is the deliverer. He's the one that the Most High has ordained to come and save us. So when he's talking about this is your salvation, that's what he's talking about. And your success, it is the secret of being invincible, right? The unity between so-called Black and Latino people is the secret to being invincible. This is the work of the Haitian Revolution. And I have the flags here of Colombia and Venezuela because they were a part, they were the continuity of that, and that's why their flags reflect that. Ecuador as well reflect with the yellow on top and that blue and red at the bottom to symbolize that this was that continuity of that Haitian flag being that blue and red, showing that this is the work that we sought out to do, and they got independence. You see what I'm saying? Going on to the next slide, right? So I want to go to Baruch now, 2 and 30. Go ahead, Baruch 2 and 30. So.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 30. It says, for I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the lands of their captivity, they shall remember themselves.
This is important. We were going to remember ourselves and who we were in the land of their captivity. In the places where we are captive, that's where we were going to remember ourselves, right? Not just remember that we're the Israelites. When you look anywhere in these scriptures in our history, the Israelites were a tribal people, right? Today, Black, Latino, Native Indian people are tribal people, right? We're tribal based off of regions we come from, get within that region, right? You take somebody from California, I'm from the West Coast, but you go to California now, Northern Cali, Southern Cali, LA, SD, all. We're going to divide ourselves and fragment ourselves and tribalize ourselves as much as we possibly can. It's just a part of our inherent nature. There's nothing we can do about that. So if we're going to remember ourselves, we're not just going to remember we're the Israelites. Part of that remembrance is going to be remembering what tribes we are, because we're going to have the spiritual characteristics to indicate such thing. Give me, matter of fact, it's our 2nd Ezra, 12 trees. Mm-hmm.
I'm just letting the conversation flow at this point. I want to digest everything that he's saying here. He's saying a lot of bullshit, but
Ezra,
still.
Chapter 2 and 18.
Yeah.
2 Ezra 2 and 18. It says, For thy help will I send my servants Isaiah and Jeremiah, after whose counsel I have sanctified and prepared for thee 12 trees laden with diverse fruits.
12 trees laden with diverse fruits. That's the 12 tribes. Each one of the 12 tribes has a diverse fruit that makes us unique. We have the uniqueness of being peculiar and being the chosen of the Most High as Israel. But within Israel, you have 12 tribes that have diverse fruits, that have a special and peculiar culture. That's all a reflection of the Most High. But we all have our little parts and our little pieces to the puzzle. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Ephraim, Issachar. We all have a little bit of piece to the puzzle that makes us unique. That's the 12 trees laden with diverse fruits. Right? Go ahead.
Keep going on that.
No, it's not on that. All right, back here.
Come on now.
We do.
Yeah, but bro, it said Isaiah and Jeremiah. He sent the servants Isaiah and Jeremiah to do that. Oh my God. Come on, man. Context. Man, this is ridiculous.
Deuteronomy 30 and 1-4.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1. It says, And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations.
So that's important, because it's referring to what Baruch 2 and 30 is referring to, a calling to mind of everything, a remembrance, right? When you shall call them to mind among all the nations, right? In these places where we've been captive. Read on.
Whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee, and shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee.
Read on.
Verse 4. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee.
That's an important part, because it says, if any of thine be driven out to the outmost parts of heaven. That's important, because like I said earlier, the 12 tribes chart is not absolute. Give me sent to the circumcision, Babu Shah. The 12 tribes chart is not absolute, like I talked about earlier, meaning that when we say Judah is the African American, that doesn't mean that only African Americans can be Judites, right? There can be Judites all throughout the world. We're scattered all throughout the world. So these tribes are going to be present all throughout the world. But it's important, because where this chart, when we go back to the cultivation of this chart, Harlem, New York, right? And its propagation predominantly through where? The United States, and then broadly the Americas. These are the people that you're going to encounter. These are the Black and Latino people that you're going to encounter on the streets of in America. So this is who the chart is pertinent to. If we were trying to find the Israelites scattered in the Middle East, right? And he rose us up there, our chart would look different. See that? Natural.
No, it wouldn't, because I've seen other camps in certain camps, sectors in these countries. They might go there or whatever, and they still have the same fucking chart. which brings the whole point of what is the point of teaching something like this to a bunch of people in those countries who didn't even know they were Israelites to begin with? Like, no, he's being slick. We've all seen it. Israelites in other countries that are part of these camps that will have that 12 tribes chart out there. Like that's a lie.
Actually, but I'm in America. I came Washington, California, then Texas, Georgia, all over the United States. We went down there to Puerto Rico. So our chart is going to reflect that, because of that is who we're sent to, right? Read that.
Romans 15:8. Now I say that Jesus Christ, Yahushua, was a minister of the circumcision for the truth of God, to confirm the promises made unto the fathers. No, you're talking about Paul was sent to
sent to you.
All right. This is the book of Galatians chapter 2. This is Galatians 2:7.
Keep in mind, the Galatians, i.e. who? The Gauls. I believe they're, well, I can't remember if they were called the Celts as well. But keep in mind, the Galatians, they were part of Europe. They weren't over here. So I really want to see how the fuck is he going to try to equate this to the 12 tribes chart. Anyway.
All right. Galatians chapter 2, verse 7. But contrariwise, when they saw that the gospel of the uncircumcision was committed unto me, as the gospel of the circumcision was unto Peter.
As the gospel of the circumcision. So we see that Peter was sent to the Jews and Paul was sent to the quote unquote Gentiles, right? So they had different and specific audiences, and that was clear in their message, right? Their specific audiences. So we here in the Americas, we have a specific audience, the Israelites here in the Americas, Black people, Latino people, Native Indian people. Again, if we went somewhere.
Okay, but nigga, he didn't have a chart. He didn't have no 12 tribes chart. And according to the alleged lost chapter of Acts 29, they had to prove their genealogies. They had to prove that shit in order for Paul to speak to us, a lot of those people in those quote unquote Gentile lands, because they had to actually prove that they're Israelites. Meaning that they had to actually prove, they actually had to have records of their patriarchal genealogy. So, no, nice try.
Somewhere else in the world, a chart should reflect the people who are there.
Cap.
But we're not there, right? So it's not an absolute, but it pertains to the people we are sent to. All that's important to know, right?
Allegedly.
Back to the presentation. Skip down to Deuteronomy 30 aside. We're going to 10 to 14.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 10. It says, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law, and if you return unto the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, for this commandment which I command you this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven, that thou shouldest say, who shall go up for us to heaven and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it. Neither is it beyond the sea, that thou shouldest say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? But the word is very nigh unto thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart, that thou mayest do it.
It's a beautiful thing. The Most High said, when you remember yourselves, he's never going to let this Bible be far from us. He made sure we went off into all forms of manner of wickedness, right? Into all forms of idolatry and savagery and things like that, all the tribes. But he made sure that we were going to get this Bible back, that we were going to get his word back. He was going to keep it close to us so we could remember ourselves. That's important to understand, right? Hassan, get for me Ezra 2.
So once again, he's trying desperately to equate certain certain general basic senses, like keeping the Bible close to us and trying to equate it with the 12 tribes chart. Nigga, the argument is the chart itself, not certain prophecies in the scriptures. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to conflate the two. And no, it doesn't work like that. But whatever. A lot of these people in these camps they're just simple. They're very simple minded. It's ridiculous.
Right. And again, when we remember ourselves not just as nations, but tribalistically, because tribalism is so important to us. But also, this Bible was going to be able to tell us our tribes, right? Go ahead, read that.
Ezra chapter 2, verse I'll start at verse 59, I guess. And these were they which went up from Tilmala, Tilharsa, Karab, Adan, and Emer. But they could not show their father's house.
So how many men was that name? 4?
Yes.
Here comes 4 brothers, right? 5, Salakia. Here comes 5 brothers. These 5 brothers don't have their genealogical records to prove that they're from the tribe of Levi. Read.
It says, they could not show their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Israel.
They couldn't even show whether they were Israelites. These 5 brothers, right? Read on.
Go to verse 62. These sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found.
So they weren't there in the records, in the record books. They weren't there, right? Read on.
It says, but they were not found. Therefore were they as polluted, put from the priesthood.
So they said, look, we can't prove that you Levites, we can't have you eating the holy things, right? Go ahead.
It says, and the Tershatha said unto them that they should not eat of the most holy things.
They shouldn't eat of those holy things. Read on.
Until there stood a priest with Urim and with Thummim.
Until they stood a priest with Urim and with Thummim, right? So what the Urim and the Thummim are, they are oracles, right? When you deal with it, lights and dice that were used to cast lots, right? We would use them to cast lots in different situations. Right. Matter of fact, start back for 59. Let's examine the situation real quick.
This is the book of Ezra, chapter 2, verse 59.
It
says, and these were they which went up from Tilmala, Tilharsa, Karab, Adan, and Emer.
5 brothers. Go ahead.
But they could not show their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Israel.
So they couldn't prove they were Israelites. Keep reading.
Verse all the way down.
Yeah.
The children of Deliah, the children of Tobiah, the children of Nokado, the 652, and of the children of the priests, the children of Habiah, the children of Kaz, the children of Barzillai, which took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and was called after their name.
And was what?
Called after their name.
Read on.
These sought their register among those.
So let's start back in 59.
All right. Back to Ezra 2 and 59. And these were they which went up from Timlah, Tilharsa, Karab, Adan, and Emer.
5 brothers. Go ahead.
But they could not show their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Israel.
They couldn't show that they were Israelites. Read.
The children of Deliah, the children of Tobiah.
So here we have the children of Deliah, the children of Tobiah. Read.
The children of Nokoda, 652.
So there were 652 other people, right? Read.
Of the children of the priests, the children of Habiah, the children of Kaz, the children of Barzillai, which took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite.
Gileadites, which are Manassites. Read.
And was called after their name.
So here it's telling us who these children's father was, right? How would they know that these were the children of those men? They found out. Right? Obviously, this is what's called historiographical narrative. It's written after the fact, right? So they found out, but there was a problem. They couldn't prove it. These guys were being called Manassites because of their mother, and they grew up in their mother's house, but they actually were Levites. But they initially couldn't prove it. It was later proven, right? Read.
That's it on that.
Keep going.
Okay. This is Ezra 2 now in verse 62. These sought their register among those.
All these hundreds of brothers, they sought their register. They sought genealogical records, right? Read.
These sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy. but they were not found.
They were not found. This is the conundrum that every Israelite in the world has now. There is not a genealogical record that can substantiate anybody as an Israelite that exists today. No such record exists, right? So what do you do when you don't have a genealogical record, when you don't have a continuity of names? And it's funny because these Jewish people who are claiming to be Israelites, they'll just have a list of niggas' names written down. See, I'm going back to Moses. It's just niggas' name. And I could go home right now and get my college rule book and just write a gang of names down if I wanted to, right? What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. There has to be somebody who's keeping the records, and everybody knows the Romans burnt the records. Everybody knows that. So there is no records that go back to Israel that are official, right? So what do? Right? Read.
It says, but they were not found. Therefore were they as polluted, put from the priesthood.
Read on.
And the Tershatha said unto them that they should not eat of the most holy things till there stood up a priest with Urim and with Thummim.
So when there stood up a priest with Urim and Thummim that could cast a lot to substantiate these things, now we can know who's what tribe. We don't have the records of whether or not this brother's an Israelite. Let's cast a lot to find out if a brother's an Israelite. Let's use and consult an oracle, right? So now, Sirach 33:3.
Sirach 33:3. Amen.
So do we have quote unquote oracles today? No. Oh, wait, let me guess. The oracle itself is the 12 tribes chart. The fuck?
Man of understanding trusteth in the law.
A man who has understanding, a man who knows something, he trusts in the law. He trusts in the Torah, right?
It says, and the law is faithful unto him as an oracle.
The law will be like an oracle to you. We don't have to have a Urim and a Thummim today. We don't got to roll dice today. The Most High left us information in that Torah that's going to help us to identify who's an Israelite. Deuteronomy 28, that's general. The tribes, Deuteronomy 33, Genesis 49. There's more, but all that is where we get the basis for everything. Who has fallen victim to these curses, and of the people who have fallen victim to these curses, who fits the description of each of the particular tribes in Genesis 49 and Deuteronomy 33. That is that oracle. That is the Urim and the Thummim that we're using today to identify the tribes. So we're doing everything according to scripture, right? Let's go back to the presentation.
Okay.
Right, Ecclesiastes 11:1.
Hold on. Okay, so he gave a reference point. So let's go there. He gave us a reference point. So let's look at it. All right. The moment that I've been waiting for. All right, so he gave us a reference point. Let's go to come on. Hurry up. All right. Move. Genesis. We're not going to do Genesis 35. Everybody should know the name of the tribes. Period. Really with time constraints. All right. Genesis 49. Let it pop up on the screen. Give it a few seconds. All right. Genesis 49. Well, we'll just we'll just do that. All right. Because this will be the premise of the rest of the live stream right here. These two chapters that we're going to read. So Genesis 49. We'll just start at verse 1. I think it ends at like 27, 28, whichever one. So we'll read all the way down to there. All right. And Jacob called his sons and said, gather together that I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days. Gather together and hear you, sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel, your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might and beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, you shall not excel, because you went up to your father's bed and defiled it. Talking about when he had sex with, I believe it was Bilal, one of his maid servants, which is one of his which is one of the women he procreated with. Anyway, he went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Instruments of cruelty are in their dwelling place. Let not my soul enter their council. Let not my honor be united to their assembly. For their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they hamstrung an ox. Talking about when they what was it, Genesis 36 or is it 34? I think it's Genesis 34 chapter, when they killed the whole city, when they led that charge into killing the entire city, or the men in that city, or men of that civilization, because their sister was quote unquote defiled, not in rape, but in just in a cultural sense. But anyway, but that's a whole other topic for another day. Continuing at verse 7. Cursed be their anger, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Judah, you are whom your brother shall praise. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He bows down. He lies down as a lion, and as a lion, who shall rouse him? Well, sorry. Move back. All right. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come. And to him shall be the obedience of the people, binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey colt to the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun shall dwell by the haven of the sea. He shall become a haven for ships, and his border shall adjoin Zidon. Issachar is a strong donkey, laying down between two burdens. He saw the rest was good, and that the land was pleasant. He bowed his shoulder to bear a burden and become a band of slaves. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, a viper by the path, that bites the horse's heels, so that the rider shall fall backwards. Its rider shall fall backwards. Sorry. I have waited for your salvation, O Lord Yahweh. Gad, a troop shall tramp upon him, but he shall triumph at last. Bread from Asher shall be rich, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a deer let loose. He uses beautiful words. Joseph is a fruitful bow by a well. His branches run over the wall. The archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him, and hated him, but his bow remained in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob, Yahweh. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, by the God of your father who helped you, by the Almighty who will bless you with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lies beneath, blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessings of your father have excelled the blessings of my ancestors. Up to the utmost bound of the everlasting hills, they shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him who was separate from his brothers. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is what the Father spoke to them. And he blessed them, and he blessed them. He blessed each one according to his own blessing. Okay. Now, as you can see, that's going to be a lot of reaching to try to apply each tribe to, to a certain landmass, but whatever. All right, so let's see. Let's see if we can find something in Deuteronomy 33. Let's see. We'll start once. Hold up. Okay. Okay. All right. Starting at verse 6. Deuteronomy chapter 33, starting at verse 6. Let Reuben live and not die, nor let his men be few. And to this he said of Judah, hear, Lord Yahweh, the voice of Judah, and bring him to his people. Let his hands be sufficient for him, and may you be a help against his enemies. And of Levi he said, let your Thummim, my bad. He already said it. Let your Thummim and your Urim be with your Holy One, whom you tested at Massah, and with whom you contended at the waters of Meribah, who says to his father and mother, I have not seen them, nor did he acknowledge his brothers or know his own children, for they have observed your word and kept your covenant. They shall teach Jacob your judgments and Israel your law. They shall put incense before you and a whole burnt sacrifice on your altar. Bless his substance. Excuse me. Bless his substance, Lord Yahweh, and accept the work of his hands. Strike the loins of those who rise against him, and of those who hate him, that they rise not again. Now it's at the hour mark, so he's gonna make a decent attempt at Levi, but not quite. But anyway, of Benjamin he said, the beloved of the Lord Yahweh shall dwell in safety by him, who shelters him all day long, and he shall dwell between his shoulders. And of Joseph he said, blessed is the Lord Yahweh is his land, with the precious things of heaven, with the dew and the deep lying beneath, with the precious fruits of the sun, with the precious produce of the months, with the best things of the ancient mountains, with the precious things of the everlasting hills, with the precious things of the earth and its fullness, and the favor of him who dwelt in the bush. Let the blessing come on the head of Joseph and on the crown of the head of him who was separate from his brothers. His glory is like a firstborn bull, and his horns like the horns of a wild ox. Together with them, he shall push the peoples to the ends of the earth. They are ten thousands of Ephraim, and they are thousands of Manasseh. And of Zebulun he said, rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, and Issachar in your tents. They shall call the peoples to the mountain. There they shall offer sacrifices of righteousness, and they shall partake in the abundance of the seas and of the treasures hidden in the sand. And of Gad he said, blessed is he who enlarges Gad. He dwells as a lion. This is what they was talking about in the ISUPK video. ISUPK video. Blessed is he who enlarges Gad. He dwells as a lion and tears the arm and the crown of his head. He provided the first part for himself, because a lawgiver's portion was reserved there. He came with the heads of the people. He administered the justice of the Lord Yahweh and his judgments with Israel. And of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's whelp. He shall leap from Bashan, And of Naphtali, he said, O Naphtali, satisfied with favor, and the full of blessing of the Lord Yahweh, possesses the west and the south. And of Asher, he said, Asher is the most blessed of sons. Let him be favored by his brothers, and let him dip his foot in oil. Your sandals shall be iron and bronze. As your days, so shall your strength be. There is no one like the God of Jeshurun, who rides the heavens to help you, and in his excellency on the clouds. The eternal God is your refuge. The eternal power is your refuge. And the underneath are the everlasting arms. He will thrust out the enemy from before you and will say, destroy. Then Israel shall dwell in safety, the mountain of Jacob alone, in the land of the grain and new wine. His heavens shall also drop dew. Happy are you, O Israel, who is like you, a people saved by the Lord Yahweh, the shield of your help and the sword of your majesty. Your enemies shall submit to you, and you shall tread down their high places. So yeah, there is a prophetic connotation to this, absolutely. But the problem is that, you know, when you try to associate these tribe characteristics to a certain people in a certain land in a certain time period, that shit don't work, because I believe Dan, uh I believe Dan and Gad were basically given similar prophecies about being able to be prepared for battle and things of that nature. So, you know, like I said, there's way too much nuance into this, but you know, whatever. So let's go ahead and get back to the video. Let's see how Gorilla desperately tries to spin this. We're gonna try to go to about hour 15 mark, maybe hour 30, and then we might be able to see that Ben Naphtali video. We might be able to see that, and then after that, we might do that surname exercise, and then we'll close it out. So yeah, let's go ahead and get back to it.
Cast our bread upon many waters, for thou shalt find it after many days. And this is important because this is how we got the Bible. This is how we got the Bible. In the creation of these religions that became universal, i.e. Roman Catholicism, they became universal when they were able to hijack and misappropriate the Bible. Through that mechanism, we were able to get the Bible back. Isn't that something? Where they've taken and they've misrepresented everything about our ancestors' history, about our God, etc. But it is the vessel and the vehicle in which we receive the scriptures back. And we're raised up in these churches and these institutions, and we care so much about it, even though what they're doing in those places is not according to it. But the Most High, we got to understand how perfect and how powerful, all praise Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We have to understand how perfect and powerful the Most High is, to where he just had this book sitting in these churches that doesn't even get read. But for whatever reason, we know like this is something. It's the Bible. It's the word of God. And we know that. So in us knowing that, okay, cool. So then when we encounter a brother who can go into it and show us the truth, it clicks. Because we already put the onus on this, that, oh, this is the word of God. Even though they weren't teaching the church, you find out what you've been learning in churches is BS. And the truth has been here the whole time. This is all a part of the divine plan of the Most High to bring his people back after our fall, right? Let's go. So I just wanted to highlight a few different rebellions that were inspired by the Bible, right? And when we're dealing with, you know, the last few hundred years of our history as Black and Latino people and dealing with the oppression that we faced, when we take a look at what's at the root of all of our liberation, all of the successful types of liberation, or at least seemingly or real good attempts at liberation, the Bible is at the center. The Most High is at the center of all of it, right? Not anything else, not politics, not none of that. What's at the center of all of our true attempts at revolution is scripture, right? We've proven that with the Haitian Revolution. Then we have Nat Turner's Rebellion, which y'all see behind me, right? We have commemorated behind us. We have Duddy Bookman who left Jamaica and went to Haiti as a Maroon, one of the Levites scattered in Jamaica, right? Started rebellions in Jamaica and then came into Haiti, right? And then Max Romeo, who, you know, was a singer out there in Jamaica, and he was talking about that Maccabean Bible, because that's really what inspired a lot of rebellions down there in Jamaica, was the Maccabees and the Maccabean revolt that happened that you read about in the Apocrypha, right? Let's keep going. So I say, speaking of rebellions, Akan captives were known for various slave revolts and plantation-resistant tactics. Their legacy is evident within the groups such as the Maroons of the Caribbean and South America. So the Akan people were scattered in the Caribbean and in South America, Jamaica, some in Haiti, Suriname, French Guiana, areas like that, right? And everywhere that these Akan went, they started rebellions everywhere, right? So now I have my own ancestry here, and I have this timeline established. And what's the most interesting thing about this to me is it's reading of saying that I have some Sudanese and Southern East African ancestry. That was peculiar to me. Well, how can that be? We know we come from West Africa, right? Now, this may be something, it may be nothing. Of course, we don't put our faith in DNA tests, right? Not this far back. Right now, if y'all go, I want to tell brothers, if you'll get a DNA test on that baby she put on you and you said you are not the father, believe that, all right? Believe that all the way. It's good to tell you that. It's not good to tell you about 1,000 years ago, 2,000. It's not good at that. But it's good to tell you if somebody's your child or not, for sure, right? I said, well, what the heck? How does that even make sense? Sudanese, Southern East Africa. How can that possibly make sense, right? I know my mother, Irish, right? I know that any black person in the Americas, they're going to give you a jumble of all these different areas in West Africa. Everybody, if you go take a DNA, it's going to tell you some percent is Nigerian. Some say it's going to give you a little bit of all these areas, and it's probably going to tell you some white too, right? Just to throw you off, right? I said, what the hell is this Sudanese and Southern East African? Where is that? How is that? How does that even make sense? And there's only one way it can make sense, and this is the way. The Akan migrated from the north. They went through Egypt and settled in Nubia around 500 AD. Due to pressure exerted on Nubia by the Aksumite kingdom of Ethiopia, Nubia was shattered and the Akan people moved west and established small trading kingdoms. These kingdoms grew, and around 750 AD, the empire of Ghana was formed, right? Now, this is the only way this can make sense to me, is if the Akan's oral tradition and history are true, that they went from Israel, because it says north of Egypt. What's north of Egypt? Israel. Okay, cool. So they went from north of Egypt or Israel, came south of Egypt to the Sudan, then migrated over across Africa into West Africa, modern day Ghana. Now that actually makes sense now. Boom. Okay. The Sudanese part is older. Then boom. Okay. That actually makes sense now, right? And that explains even more, because once we start to look at the Akan culture and specifically the Ashanti culture, we start to see some very interesting things. As we can see here.
There we go, Ashanti. I know the boys SOD and J2K, they talked about them a lot. Once again, always shout out to them. Being able to build with them anytime. So shout out to them as well. But let's see how he talks about the Ashanti here.
This is an Ashanti man, and we see he has a breastplate, and we see he has this mitre on, right? Where's my reader at? Lord in Christ. Who's right there? I need somebody to read briefly. Who we got? Yeah, you gotta come. I'm about to say, yeah, come sit in the spot. Exodus 28. Can you see what's on screen? Because I got it exerted so it's not so if you can read through it on the screen.
Con. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 28. And these are the garments which they shall make: a breastplate, and an ephod, and a robe, and a broidered coat, a mitre.
So see that? So when you see what's on his head, And you see what's on his chest. That's that ephod. You see he's rocking a robe, right? And you see he got the mitre or the mitre, right? Go ahead.
And a girdle. And they shall make holy garments for Aaron thy brother.
So this is what went on the Levites, and specifically the Aaronites, right? The high priests, right? Read on.
And his sons, that he may minister unto men in the priest office.
Read on.
And thou shalt make the breastplate of judgment with cunning work. After the work of the ephod, thou shalt make it. And thou shalt set it in the setting of stones. Even 4 rows of stones.
So we see he got 4 rows of stones on his chest, right? Read on.
And the stones shall be with the name of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names.
So we see he's got something on his chest with 12 stones, right? Important. We're going to continue in Exodus 28. I need you to wait for the slide aside because I need you to read the specific excerpt I have. There we go. Go ahead.
Exodus 28. A golden bell and a pomegranate. A golden bell and a pomegranate.
So do we see what this Ashanti man has on? Hanging off his waistband. A golden bell and a pomegranate. Right? Read. It
says, upon the hem of the robe round about, and it shall be upon Aaron to minister.
So this is what the Aaronites should wear. Breastplates with them 12 tribes on it. Golden bells, pomegranate. Of course, all the Israelites are supposed to wear what? Fringes, specific head dresses, head pieces. So this is what the people, the Ashanti people who are Akan people, this is how they adorn themselves, right? And they say they came from Israel into Sudan over into Ghana. And then they were transported into the Caribbean, and everywhere they went, they kicked up dust and started rebellions, right? Interestingly enough, right? Let's read this 1 Chronicles 6:57 to 59.
This is 1 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 57. And to the sons of Aaron they gave the cities of Judah, namely Hebron, the city of refuge, and Libnah with her suburbs, and Jadar and Eshtemoh with their suburbs, and Hilen with her suburbs, Deber with her suburbs, and Ashan with her suburbs.
This is important because the Levites were given certain suburbs in the land of Judah, and one of those cities' names were Ashan, right? This is where you get Ashanti from, those people, right? A suburb, a city that was possessed by the Levites within the country of Judah. So we see these people are calling themselves after the name of a city in which the Levites possessed. We see them wearing an ephod like the Levites wore, a mitre like the Levites wore, right? A robe like the Levites wore, golden bells like the Levites wore. You see that? Is this all a coincidence? Because that's what they're going to have to start telling you at this point. This is all just, we're going to go through every tribe. And you know what? The only thing they're going to be able to say is, oh, it's just a coincidence. Y'all are misreading that. How do all the 12 tribes that we've been saying on the 12 have this many coincidences about them that match them up with the 12 tribes? And you know what the beautiful thing about this is? The majority of the information that we're going to go into tonight through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, nobody in this room needed to understand the 12 tribes. None of us needed any of this to get it. It's beautiful to get this, these reinforcements, but we didn't need this, right? We pretty much, listen, I took a look at that 12 tribe chart the first time and I just got it. I said, you know what? That sounds about right. That all kind of just makes all the sense in the world to me, right?
Really? You just took one look at it and said, oh, yeah, for sure. Spot on. 100% accurate. What? That's just, man, bruh. And at the end of the day, the Ashanti angle that he's taking, that's just one part of the story. If you look at First Chronicles, what is it? Chapter 6, you could clearly see that the family of Levi, the tribe of Levi, is way more than the fucking than the sons of Aaron. Like it's just ridiculous. But you know what? Whatever.
But it's all right. We got the Most High is giving even more information to make it that much more clear for the brothers who it maybe not that much easy to grasp. And the naysayers, right? Go to the next slide. So also something that's interesting in the Ashanti people, the Akan people, they got this golden seat, right? That just means so much to them. It's such a symbol of power to them. And it's reminiscent to me of something that we read about in the scriptures called the mercy seat, right? A seat of gold, right? So read that.
Exodus 25:17. And thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold.
Go ahead.
Leviticus 16:2. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, speak unto Aaron thy brother, that he come not at all times into the holy place within the veil before the mercy seat, which is upon the ark, that he die not. For I will appear in the cloud upon the mercy seat.
So this mercy seat was something that was of extreme importance in the Israelite culture, and it was in the Akan culture as well, right? And it was said that who sat on that mercy seat was divine, and the king, the ruler of these Akan people, would sit on this seat, right? Which is interesting. Let's keep going. So let us remember, like I brought out earlier, Akan captives were known for various slave revolts and plantation resistant tactics. Their legacy is evident within groups such as the Maroons of the Caribbean and South America. Genesis 49:6 is important. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. This is said of the Levites. Deuteronomy 33:11. Smite through the loins of them that rise against him, and of them that hate him, that they rise not again. So this is a specific a blessing that was given to the Levites, right? To have the ability to smite through the loins of all those that rose against them, right? This is why when you read in the Bible, all successful revolts that happened with the Israelites in the Bible were led by Levites. Exodus, when you read the book of Exodus, you're reading about a slave revolt. When you read the secular Egyptian history on what happened in the Exodus, they interpreted it as a slave rebellion, right? Then we later have something called the Maccabean revolt, what the book of the first and second Maccabees is about. These were all led by Levites. This is all important to understand with understanding the tribe of Levi, which is what we're starting with. And I believe it's important to start with the tribe of Levi to understand the 12 tribes of Israel. It's very important to start with us. And the reason why it's important to start with us is we're the linchpin for this whole nation. We're like the centerpiece for this whole nation, right? We're with the southern.
The tribe of Levi is the centerpiece of the whole nation? How? When you're not even the kingship tribe? You know what? Whatever. See? This is what I was trying to get at. This dude is basically trying to promote why he thinks he's a quote unquote chief high priest. All of this is just a charade for him to try to laud himself over the people as a quote unquote, not only a priest, which is ridiculous enough, but a quote unquote chief high priest. That's all this is, guys. This is just a big ruse. That's all this is, dog.
Southern Kingdom, but our culture is Latin. That's our culture. We speak a Latin language. We're Catholics. You see what I'm saying? So we're the perfect synergy between the northern and the southern kingdom, and that's not by mistake. It's all by the divine design of the Most High. We'll keep going. Now it's interesting. So this is the term Loa, right? Also called Loa, right? Are spirits in the African diasporic religion of Haitian voodoo. Modern linguists trace the etymology of Loa to the words Babaloa, which means diviner or priest. The term Loa is phonetically identical to both a French term for law or law, right? When you L-O-I is like law. Who anybody in here ever watch hockey? Right? There's a top hockey guy back in the day named Patrick Waugh, right? Patrick Waugh's name is spelled R-O-I, right? So when you see L-O-I here, law in the French, it's the same, it's law, right? And the Haitian term for law, right? So that's what the term loa is etymologically tracked to, right? So when you deal with what a loa is, it's like the go-between between God and men, right? Very important to understand. So the Hebrew word Levi or loya means joined to God. The loa are said to be intermediaries for men and God, right? The Levites are the priest of God, and as priests made intercession for men to God, intermediaries, right? So this concept is alive and well in Haitian voodoo, and we can see its Hebraic root. Babaloa means priest. The term Levi or loya, the tribe of priests, etymologically goes back to the Hebrew word loa. See Strong's 3867. So this word that's present in Haitian voodoo that symbolizes somebody who goes between men and God is a very much Hebrew word that indicates the tribe of Levi, whom we are, right? Loa is interchangeable with the Creole and French words for law. The Levites taught and enforced the law of God, right? So we can see here, is this all a coincidence? The same people who say they came from Israel, who start slave rebellions, who wear ephods, who wear fringes, who wear golden bells, right? Who sit on mercy seats, right? Are the intermediaries between God and men and give the law, right? Am I to say that this is all a coincidence? I'm supposed to just dismiss all of these dots from being connected. That's what somebody will have you thinking and believing.
You could say that if you want to, but keep in mind, we're under the order of Melchizedek, not under the order of Levitical priesthood. But you know what? Whatever. This guy, this I think I said this to TKP one time. They promote Judaism, like they promote modern Judaism, basically, which they try to reestablish the quote unquote Levitical priesthood, which is why he wanted to start with the tribe of Levi first. But that's so all this shit is just a ruse. And then you still have to prove your genealogy, sir. So your genealogy will have to confirm everything that you're saying, because they could have been any tribe. Because even the scriptures tell you about Judah that the lawgiver will not leave between his feet until Shiloh come. So, and like I said, once again, we're under the order of Melchizedek. We're not under the Levitical priesthood anymore. That's over and done with. So, any man from any tribe, any man from one of the 12 tribes can be a priest. That's the order of Melchizedek, sir. So, it is what it is.
Right? But we know better than that, right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, that is. Right? Genesis 49:6. I will divide them in Jacob, and I will scatter them in Israel. We're revisiting this. It's important. This is Israel and Jacob, Black people, Latino people, Native Indian people. Let's take a look at this article on the Haitian diaspora. Haiti has a sizable diaspora present majority in the United States, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Canada, France, including its French Caribbean territories, the Bahamas, Brazil, and Chile. They also live in other countries like Belgium, Turks and Caicos, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and the United States Virgin Islands, among others. Rapidly emerging Haitian populations have been popping up in Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Argentina, Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana, and Trinidad and Tobago, among other places. Interesting. So, where are there a very notable presence of the Haitian diaspora? The United States, Dominican Republic, Cuba, all of these different islands, Brazil and Colombia, Argentina and Chile, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Panama, and Costa Rica. Interesting. In the United States, we have Judah, Gad, Reuben, right? Let's count. Judah, Gad, Reuben in the U.S., right? Simeon in the D.R., Manasseh in Cuba, right? The Bahamas and all them islands, Benjamin. Brazil and Colombia, Asher. Argentina and Chile, Naphtali. Mexico, Issachar. Puerto Rico, Ephraim. And then Panama and Costa Rica, Zebulun.
Wait, what?
Islands, Benjamin. Brazil, Gad, Reuben, right? Let's count. Judah, Gad.
What do you say?
Brazil and Colombia, Argentina and Chile, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Panama, and Costa Rica. Interesting. In the United States, we have Judah, Gad, Reuben. Right? Let's count. Judah, Gad, Reuben in the U.S. Right?
What?
Simeon in the D.R. Manasseh in Cuba. Right? The Bahamas and all them islands. Benjamin. Brazil and Colombia. Asher. Argentina and Chile. Naphtali. Mexico. Issachar. Puerto Rico. Ephraim. And then Panama and Costa Rica. Zebulon. Right? 11 plus 1 is what? 12. So this 12 or this Levi or these Haitians are scattered in every single one of the 12 tribes. Remember, I will divide them in Jacob. I will scatter them in Israel. What other group of people is scattered amongst every single group of these people that we're talking about here? And that's really how you bring that tribe, bring that whole chart together right there.
What?
Look at proving who the Levites are. That's why I started there. And then let's take a look at where are they? Oh, they're in amongst all these other people that we say are the tribes of Israel. Right? So now it all really, you can close the book on that. Right?
Man.
It's pretty much solidified there. We're going to go further though. Right? What people, of course, are black and
what the hell? Wow. So in America, it's nothing but Judah, Gad, and Reuben. How did they come up with shit like this? Like, it's just wild. Whatever.
Latino people, it's important to understand, is the people who broke up and reunited in oppression. Right? Read that aside.
Jeremiah 50:33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
That's what the Haitian Declaration of Independence is talking about. We've been oppressed together. Right? Go ahead.
And all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
Right? The people who are in a trap, in jail, who are preyed upon that nobody cares about. That's who the Levites are spread amongst. Right? Read that.
Isaiah 42:22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
Read on.
They are all of them snared in holes.
In a trap. Go ahead.
And they are hid in prison houses.
In jail. Who are the top people in jail? We already know. Read. And this was crazy. America has what? The most prisoners out of any country in the world. And who are the majority of those prisoners? Black and Latino people. Right? Read.
It says, they are for a prey and none delivereth.
That's important. We are preyed upon and nobody comes to save us. Brothers is catching 60 slugs out here in the street by the police. Kids is getting put in cages. None delivereth. No one cares. Right? Read on.
For a spoil.
Read.
And none say restore.
Nobody is begging and pleading for any restoration or anything to happen good for our people. Right? Let's keep going. The people whose enemies conspire against them and want to exterminate them. Read that Psalm 83.
This is Psalm. Is on the screen or
it's coming?
Okay. Psalm 83:3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
We have to understand that there is a conspiracy against all of these people. Let's go backwards. Right? Who in here watches a show called Snowfall? Watch Snowfall, right? Who knows who Snowfall is stolen from? Whose actual life Snowfall is stolen from? Who? Freeway Ricky Ross, right? Who, as a black person, had a state-sponsored drug racket sponsored by the CIA and Central American drug cartels, and it all had to do with Iran, coincidentally enough, the Iran-Contras. And they let them sell dope so they could fund a war in Central America against communism, right? That's a part of a conspiracy because we see what cocaine and crack cocaine have done to our communities. How many years? I mean, we got Joe Biden. Joe Biden, he had just a little bit of crack rock. Tell me, I want to give a nigga 5 years for this little bit of crack rock. Who's seen his son recently smoking crack? Can I get 5 years? I need him to get 5 years. Can we lock his ass up, please? So, Lord in Christ, right?
It's 5 years for each one that's the size of a quarter. And there was like
each rob
9 of them.
Let's throw the book at him.
Yeah.
He won't do a day. He won't even check in to rehab this devil, right? But we know what that's because it's a conspiracy. It's about us. It's not about anybody else in the world but us. We have that conspiracy. There is a concerted effort from other groups of people to come against us, to destroy us, right? And that's evident. It's not, if you can't see that, see, when you can't see that, what you're saying is we're just dumb. When you can't acknowledge that Black and Latino people have a conspiracy against them, what you're saying is Black and Latino people are just generally stupid, brutish. We just can't seem to just figure it out, right? It's what you have to say, because there's no other reason why we'd be in this position unless you just believe we're just dumb. But you have to know we're not dumb. Because when we go back to Isaiah 42 and 22, right, it says we're hidden prison houses, right? You go to prisons and you see the type of inventions that our people make up in the goddamn jail. How ingenuitive a nigga can just get in jail. You go, no, we can't be stupid, can we? Look at what we can invent with limited resources. We can't be stupid. What is it? Oh no, it's you're fighting the whole world. The whole world is against you. The whole world wants you to just not succeed. That's the plan, right? It's a conspiracy. Not just that type of conspiracy. This is a conspiracy. They only want our babies to be born. Exodus 1 and 16, just like in ancient Egypt, they wanted us to die, right? That's why you got all these people. Our people are outraged about the overturning of the Roe versus Wade decision. Our people are outraged, right? And we know they didn't do it for our people's benefit, but they had to pick the lesser of two evils. They're dying. They said, we got to figure this out. We're dying. We got to get a hold of this. If this means there's going to be a few more niggas and spics, well, then okay. We're just going to have to accept it. They're making babies. We can't stop them from making no damn babies. No way, right? So it's important to understand that. And it's funny. I remember I did that video towards Dr. James White, prominent apologist, and he was attacking Black Democrats in his video. It was a good video. And he was saying, like, why would you guys vote for Hillary when she endorses Planned Parenthood that is essentially has an agenda to erase you off the face of the earth? Remember James White said that aside? So I said, oh, I did a whole video saying James White acknowledges that we're the Israelites. Because that's what you have to be acknowledging at that point. Because if you're acknowledging that there's a effort by a group of people to kill us, what does that make? What other people do we know had that type of effort put against them? The Israelites. So what does that make? That has to make us the Israelites. It's important, right? Let's keep going. These people, the people on this chart, right? Go ahead, read that for me inside Revelations 2 and 9. The people had their identity and culture stolen and assumed.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 9. It says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
Read on.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
So we got to look and we got to rely upon these scriptures, because these scriptures are going to tell us so much. They're telling us somebody is assuming our identity, right? Whoever the Jews are, they're not who people say they are, because who people say they are liars. They are the synagogue of Satan, those people, right? So let us know a lot. So we know who the world accepts as Jews. And we know what the Bible says about who the world accepts as Jews. The Jews are somebody else, not these people, right? Next slide. The people who have a lot of babies and have been called everything but a child of God. That's the people in which the Levites have been scattered amongst, right? Read that, Hosea.
Hosea 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea.
See that? The people who have so many, they make fun of us for having all these babies. While they make fun of you, understand something. While they make fun of you for having big lips, they go get lip injections.
That's right.
Right? While they make fun of you for having a lot of babies, they're dying. They have to outlaw abortion just so they can start having more babies. They make fun of you for things that they're jealous of. it's like when the girl in kindergarten class hits you because she likes you. That's what the white man is doing when he does this. Oh, you guys are this. You guys are that. But you want to be what you're saying about us. Why would you want to do it? Why these little white kids grow up in privilege and they want to be gangsters? Why? Right? Because they it's that envy, and it really goes all the way back to Jacob and Esau. It goes all the way back to envy. It goes all the way back to Cain and Abel, and that there's just a jealousy that they just have, and they try to mask their jealousy by demonizing the things about us that they're so jealous of. Right? Well, like when they told LeBron, "Shut up and dribble." Shut up and dribble. You wish you can dribble. Don't minimize me dribbling. You guys pay me.
Well, yeah, but LeBron does need to shut up and dribble because he's a big fat buffoon. But anyway,
a retarded amount of money to dribble. You can't dribble, right? And the ones of y'all that can dribble, I mean, y'all got to work hard. They got to work day and night to dribble. You see what I'm saying? You ever see them white boys that be hooping, man? Them niggas, they're real mechanical. Everything about it is mechanical. You know what I'm saying? Any sport Esau plays, them niggas is mechanical. With our people, you just kind of went out there. You know what I'm saying? And it just kind of happened. You know what I'm saying? You were just like, yeah, you know, you get tuned up or whatever. Ariella. Top guy in the NBA. Just get a nigga the ball. You see what I'm saying? See how that works? Nayor.
You ever see that 43?
43, no.
Yeah, so it was like they had this scene where they was talking about the first high school black basketball team to play a white basketball team.
Yeah.
Murder.
Yeah.
And like they had Terrence Howard was playing the coach, and he was like, bro, as long as y'all out on the court, you gonna win.
Yeah.
Right.
Just get out there.
Yeah, like,
y'all ain't never seen that video where it's old ass black and white and the brothers crossing. It's a court full of white where he's crossing everybody up.
Nate Archibald.
Yeah, it's Nate Archibald, and it says why racism started. I'm talking about the whole. It was cold, but everything they make fun of us for is what they wish they can do. Right? Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be at the sand of the sea. You can't tell me how many blacks and Latinos there is. There's not a number. How many? To first off, you're talking about a group of people that will purposely lie that will avoid the Census Bureau. Just avoid them. Who's coming? Hey, who remember the wash? Who that calling? The Census Bureau. The Census Bureau. Right? He said, no, I ain't even hear niggas start saying that. I ain't even here. Right? Then forget about all the other Judah, Benjamin on down. We definitely not going to tell you how many people, because somebody's not supposed to be here. You see what I'm saying? Somebody is like, he ain't even, that nigga, he got to leave. You know what I'm saying? When certain people come around. Somebody's not even supposed to be here. Right? So there's no really way you can number all of these black and Latino people. Good luck. Right? Go ahead.
It says, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people.
We were told we are not. Our name changes constantly, right? Like I said, when the Haitian Declaration of Independence is being wrote, 1804, Latinos are being called yellows. Now comes Latino. Now comes Hispanic. Remember them shirts? You remember them shirts? I'm one. You should remember this. You remember the shirts when it would say like, not Hispanic, not Mexican, Chicano. You remember that? Remember that shirt? I remember Issachar used to be coming to school wearing that shirt. You see what I'm saying? All these names, right? What does it all mean? We're just being called. Our name is just changing constantly. You see what I'm saying? Negro, colored, black, African American. Now they're trying to change Northern Kingdom to Latinx. What is that about? Just totally defy the Spanish language. Where is this X coming in? Okay, everybody knows if we're talking about plural, it's masculine. That's how Spanish works. That's how Hebrew works. That's how most languages work. Plural diverts to the masculine. Simple, right? Now they're trying to change that. Latinx. Got to include all those people. We ain't gonna talk about those people, right? We can't be numbered or measured, but we've been called everything but a child of God, right? Where it was said, you are not my people. People are quick to tell us we are not his people. We're your Gentiles, right? Go ahead.
You are not my people. There shall be said unto them, You are the sons of the living God.
So the men that would be on the streets with Bibles with these 12 tribes charts are here to say, what's your father? Mexican. You're a child of the living God. What's your father? I'm black. You're a son of the living God. What's your father? I'm Dominican. You're a son of the living God. See that? This is all the fulfillment of prophecy that everybody just hates so much. The fulfillment of prophecy, of God's word coming true through the Spirit, right? Go ahead. Oh, no, I'm telling you to go ahead. Next slide, right?
No. That is so lazy. What the fuck? And he said, nah, nigga, that's not how that works. He gonna be like, oh, see how you try to force that there in the scripture? See how you try to be slick? He was like, oh, well, see, since Hosea, since it says in Hosea 1 and 10, you're gonna be called the sons of the living God. You see, when all the camps get out there with the Bibles and the 12 tribes chart, they're gonna say, oh, Mexican, Israelite, Puerto Rican, Israelite. See, no, bro. Once again, like I said in the beginning of the stream, they've been trying to correlate ethnicity and nationality. Those are two totally different things. And only one of those concepts actually determines race, and it's ethnicity, not nationality. All right. Nationality is just the country or whatever, the country that you have citizenship in. Ethnicity is tribe, i.e., your lineage. Okay. That's what ethnicity is. That's the only way you can determine your race. But once again, it's been an hour. The only tribe that so far he has even tried to equate, which to a degree you can say that, but once again, the tribe Levi is more than just Aaron or the descendants of Aaron. Aaron's not even the first descendant of Levi. So it's just absolute crap. And at the end of the day, we are in the order of Melchizedek, not the Levitical priesthood. That's been nullified by Christ, who is not a Levite, by the way. But anyway, you know what? I'm pretty much done with this video. There's really nothing else for me to see here. Like I said, I'm all that stuff is just nonsense. But if you want to see the rest of this video, I don't know, maybe I might put in the should I put in the live chat? Should I mean, y'all can look it up. Just look up Sakari, or I'll leave this I'll leave this I'll leave it right here for a few seconds. Let anybody that wants to look at this breakdown, if they want to finish it out. We stopped at the hour and 16-minute mark. If you want to put that in your notes, we stopped at the hour and 16-minute mark. So you would have about an hour and 45 minutes left, depending on how long his his closing statement is. So if you guys want to look at that, and if there's anything in there that you want to ask me questions about, you can always hit me up on Instagram. For those who know me personally, of course, I always text message, and also the Discord as well. So you can hit me up one of those three places and we can go over stuff. But at this point, I'm pretty much done with this video because that was just ridiculous. But real quick, I actually want to go over what I just said about nationality versus ethnicity. Sorry. Let me hold on. Give me a second. Look this up. Whatever. Why won't he let me why is it the page then? Let me respond. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Wow. Did it just, man? We still good. Still good on the live. My shit kind of like lagged me out a little bit. All right. I guess we're still good on live. So let me see something. Reload, motherfucker. You know what? Hold on. Let me. Yo, this shit is taking forever to load up. I'm trying to do this quick research real quick so people can get the point. Oh man. Okay, so that's that. Wow, this is loading up. Let me look at these comments real quick. Boy, SOD came through. I might have to start from the beginning. I missed out. It's all good, bro. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you coming through, my guy. I forgot that fast what he said at the 5 hour 54-minute mark. I forgot that fucking fast. I think it was about the prison industrial complex. That was true, but that you can't just associate that with one tribe over another. That's all of Israel. That's all 12. So that's really the point. But it is what it is. This thing need to hurry up, man. I'm trying to finish this out correctly, but this shit won't let me. Maybe my thing is overheating a little bit, maybe. Like, come on, man. Trying to finish this damn stream before 7 o'clock. Shit. We don't have much left to do. Oh my goodness. What's up with these tabs, man? Hold on. Give it a second, guys. Give me a second. Might take a little bit. Okay, so that one's still working. I don't want to get rid of that one though. Oh my goodness. Exit. Oh my goodness. Wow, bro. This shit taking forever. Oh. Okay. Give me a sec. Okay. Can we please get a move on with this? Sorry for technical difficulties. This shit's fucking up. I don't think it's gonna lag me out, but this shit is getting annoying right now. I'm trying to but let me see something. Let me see, because I'm pretty much done with this video. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can play one more. Go back to the playlist. Come on, video. I mean, come on, tablet. Work with me here. It's just annoying. Apologize for the technical difficulties. It's just lagging like a motherfucker right now. Oh my goodness. Shit won't let me do anything right now. And then switch back to the tabs. Shit, the only tab that's working right now is the StreamYard tab. Oh my goodness. Come on. Man. I just clicked on it, man. Come on. Yeah, nothing is working right now. Nothing is working right now, and I'm getting more and more frustrated. Okay, so now we're back on the home screen. Give me a second, guys. Let me see if I can figure this out. Oh my goodness, bro. I didn't want to end the live stream like this because I'm kind of cheaping. Man. But the way this shit working right now, we might just end the stream right here. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to wait, but if it just can't come up, then we're just going to end the stream right here, which is not what I wanted to do because it skips the point. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this shit is not working. So it looks like we're gonna have to close out the stream at this point. Unfortunately, I wanted to explain the ethnicity versus nationality topic, but you guys saw 2 videos. I mean, like I said, this is not how I wanted to end this stream, but it looks like that's what we're gonna have to do because it's just lagging like a mug, trying to make sure it don't come back. Yeah, this shit is not working. So we just have to close it out here. Always appreciate all the brothers coming through. J2K, the boy Yonde, the boy D Real G, the boy SOD, 10K. Appreciate you coming through. As always, I appreciate all the brothers coming through for the live. I appreciate all the brothers gonna watch the playback. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, anything in those, you can watch those 2 videos that we saw. If you have anything that you know you want to have a dialogue about, hit me up on Instagram. Obviously personally text if you have my number. And obviously the Discord, both Instagram and Discord is the same name, GhettoGenius 144. Y'all should know that already. But as far as I'm concerned, at the end of the day, how do you gain better knowledge past shout out to the gang. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you coming through, bro. Appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? But how do we you kind of came at the end if you wasn't here the whole entire time. So we about to close out, unfortunately, because my damn tablet is fucking up. But anyway, but yeah, how we get past these simplistic things like 12 tribes charts and all this other madness? Hey man, once again, you got to return to the code so you can properly Kahala Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah HaMashiach Nagad HaKwatazah Mayan HaRashayah. What does that mean? Declaring the end from the beginning, Isaiah 46:10, because that's the whole point. The whole story is all about, the whole story connects itself. Like I said before, my argument against the 12 tribes chart is appreciate you then. Appreciate you for being in here then if you was. Appreciate you. Because of course I don't know unless if you comment, but I appreciate you being here the whole time, brother. Always. But yeah, my argument against the 12 tribes chart is as simple as Genesis 28, 13 and 14, Numbers 24 and 7, Acts 10, 9 through 16, and Revelation 7 and 9. There might be some other ones that I'm missing right now, but those are my main arguments against the 12 tribes chart. Because if we're scattered abroad, there's no point in teaching just from a Western Hemisphere perspective. So at the end of the day, I appreciate all you brothers for tuning in, and I'm glad I was able to do this stream. Didn't quite end the way I wanted it to, but I'm glad I was able to do this stream anyway, as always. But let's be for real. I'm tired of fucking talking, and I'm pretty sure y'all tired of fucking listening. So with that being said, oh yeah, one more big announcement. March 3rd, I've been talking about it. For brothers that know I'm talking about, March 3rd is going down on this channel. That should be the next time I see y'all. So, hey, we're going into one of the most toxic months of the year, Women's Month, or whatever the fuck they want to call that bullshit. We're starting off with a bang. So, hopefully I'll get some brothers. Hopefully we'll get some brothers on the panel with us, the usual suspects, and we'll be able to break things down. I'm bringing a new concept to the live, so stay tuned for that. But other than that, hey, I will see y'all Friday, March 3rd. So until then, be easy and remain hopeful. Peace.